morning and welcome to the AM show on the Joy News channel, your home of independent, fearless, incredible journalism. My name is Sweetie Botchwey and I do this with Benjamin Akakbo, and it's always my pleasure to welcome you to the show. Now this morning, it's a Thursday, we start with the news and then we get into the news review. We will be joined by Bernard Mona of Arise Ghana and Mahmoud Khalid, Associate Professor of Economics, to get into the stories that have been captured in the various newspapers. And then Haruna Mubarak will come your way with AM Sports, all the latest updates in the world of sports, and then our big conversations begin. Today being a Thursday, we will bring you AM Exclusive, and today Benjamin Akakbo engages a political giant and stalwart of the New Patriotic Party. He has been a chairman and a campaign manager and played pivotal roles in the electoral victories of the party. This morning we'll bring you a fascinating interview with Peter Mac Manu, and you don't want to miss any of this. Also, still to come, Ministry of Finance expresses optimism that its measures put in place with the Bank of Ghana will ensure stability of the Ghana cedi going forward. What does this mean? We'll tell you more about this on AM Business. Of course, we'll bring you other conversations, but you're invited to join us with your comments and your thoughts. This is the AM show, and we are because you are. So stay with us. Let's start with the news. Welcome to the AM show. This is the AM News, starting with hundreds of squatters at a location known as Ekomog in Circle have been left homeless after a fire engulfed their makeshift stalls, marking the second blaze to ravage the area in just 2 years. With their meager earnings, they had barely managed to secure shelter, but now find themselves back at square one, having lost everything to the flames. As they grapple with their sudden displacement, they appeal to the government and compassionate individuals for assistance in rebuilding their lives. My colleague Michael Shirley was there and reports now.
Ashes blanketed the ground, while scattered flames flickered amidst the charred remains. Smoke hung heavy in the air, as remnants of the fire that razed more than 100 structures at a place popularly called Ekomog near Circle Bus Terminal in Accra remained visible. Thomas was there when it all started.
We are there, we see fire is burning. Then told me that one of girl was cooking inside the room, was using gas. Where he forget that he was cooking. Then the fire got. It be that I hear from the girls.
Previously living on the edge in an unsanctioned area, these squatters are now homeless after the fire razed their makeshift stalls.
I have a lot, my fridge, my things, and my money too.
Zara James is a Nigerian. She came to Ghana to make ends meet, but has lost it all to the inferno. How much was in there?
31. 31 million.
31 million Ghana cedis, yes. Or just 3,100 cedis?
3,100 cedis.
Interesting. And what was that money to you?
It means a lot, but I don't have anything to say.
So you came to Ghana for what exactly?
To hustle, make money, and make my family proud.
How does this make you feel?
Heartbroken.
What are you going to do now?
I don't have any option.
Dennis Anthony has called this place home for just 7 months, forced to settle here after enduring a significant setback in life.
Oh, I've been here almost just only 7 months here. I've been here just only months. I couldn't take any of my things. By the time I came back, I went to work, I came back. My place was already burned out. It has reached different place. So as you are looking at me right now, I don't even have anything to wear. It's only this my down that I'm wearing. Yeah. The reason why we are staying here is just for the me time. You know, we are always also to save money and all that things. But someone will be at the back saying this because he is not living here, and he's even living in a better place in a good condition. So because we don't have any place to go, we also come to shelter for here to save money and other things.
For nearly 4 hours and at least 5 fire tenders, personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service managed to bring the fire under control. Assistant Division Officer of the PR Department of the Fire Service, ADO1 Alex Kenate, says investigations will commence shortly.
The cause is not readily known yet. There might be different factors or causes of the fire. It could be illegal connection, it could be unattended cooking, it could even be arson as a result of territorial conflict. So we can't pinpoint for now. Once we are done, we'll do what we call salvaging and our investigation, and then we should be able to come up with a conclusive investigation at the end of the day.
Fire outbreaks here have become a regular occurrence. In February 2022, flames razed all the stalls in the area. The mayor of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the MCE for Korle Klottey inspected the site and ordered for all squatters to be evicted.
We do not want to see any structure, any activity going on here.
We advise them to immediately look for alternative places and move to.
That order was flouted. For many of them, it's back to square one. After struggling to find shelter with their meager earnings, they have lost everything to the fire. They remain hopeful and are pleading for help.
But we are praying, hoping government should help us. That is the only thing I have to say.
Okay, great. But I didn't ask you, what really do you do here whilst you're trying to hustle?
I don't have anything at all. I don't have anything left, but I have God.
I mean, the question I want to ask the government is that, is it going to still continue letting people stay in here?
As the smoke clears and the extent of their losses sink in, the immediate challenge for many is finding shelter under the looming rain clouds and securing their next meal.
What they want right now is for government to come to their aid. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Now, after months of being driven away by the stench of drains choked with filth at the Aboabo lorry station, traders and drivers heaved a sigh of relief as Joy News Filth Exhibition team got the KMA to start a major cleanup exercise of drains in the area. Joy News, in its recent Filth Exhibition series, uncovered the drain filled with heavy waste, posing health risk from its unpleasant stench. Clinton Yeboah provides a special report on the recent cleanup efforts by Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly at the Aboabo lorry station, a direct result of our Filth Exhibition series. Here's the report.
Residents and traders at the busy Aboabo Old Railway Lorry Station in Kumasi lived in a demeaning sanitation environment engulfed by filth from a major drain in the trading space. Indiscriminate disposal of solid waste into drains in the area left the environment drenched in stench and squalor. This big drain was a collection of garbage, including food packaging, empty plastic bottles and glasses, rotten food scraps, and fruit peels dumped over time. The collected filth came from households in Roman Hill, Ashdown, and Aboabo. The Joy News team highlighted this situation in its flagship series, Filth Exhibition. Now traders, drivers, and residents beam with joy as the reportage yields momentous results. Officials of the KMA have begun a week-long cleanup and distilling of filth-infested drainages in some selected areas, including the Aboabo lorry station main drain. A garbage container now occupies the spot to contain trash. Traders, drivers, and residents hope the new development will improve sanitary conditions in the area.
Because we will be a young do said in Penify and a yepa. Say, I baby a woman not be so near the other big family form, and the other side of a member feels so.
Whilst they admonish authorities to now tackle the crisis from the source, the traders are pledging to serve as watchdogs to deal with perpetrators.
Because I'm going to chance from the Sarabe, Professor Louis, and I first and so and I say, Uncle Ford, you will be down better, say, my high come up. I say, I fire wagon. When a man on one, I catch them, so I'm also reading without to my fetch chairman. Near Mbachino, near Fanico Police Station. And I saw Mojin in the Pine and I, the Kutan with the Bat Chamawa. The Nico Police are patch and ready what to.
Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Chief Executive Samuel Pine, in a recent interview with Joy News, disclosed the Assembly lost over 30,000 cedis to the clearing of waste from drains in the Wayek area in Akwatia Line. The area was also featured in the Filth exhibition series. According to KMA Environmental Director Yao Ofori, these areas, along with other major areas in Adum, will be cleared in a week. He indicated the reportage and intensity of the situation fast-tracked the Assembly's response.
The sitting of gutter and drains is part of our work, and we've been doing it every day, every time, especially during the rainy season. Now, we had a report that your outfit took a picture of what actually happened at the Abu Abu. Basically, it's not expected for you to even call it before we do that. We'll be doing it, and then when the picture was showing around the television and other areas, we just move quickly to start doing the work. We are still on it. Because looking at the nature of the drain, in fact, it's not easy for us. It's not easy task. It was my thinking that we'll finish maybe today, so that we'll start working on the one at the Dum, which is another area. We don't want something to happen.
Coordinating Director of the KMA, Francis Jura Dako, says it is hard to identify the perpetrators, adding the Assembly is on its way to ensuring effective enforcement of environmental bylaws.
When you are beat and you are arrested, you are put before the law court for the law to deal with you. Yeah. But just that you don't see these people dumping the waste into the drains. That's the only challenge. But like we said, we are also trying to make sure that at least we put these waste bins, the big ones that you see in a Dum, we put them advantage points for people to put the waste separate. We have the two types, separate from the plastics and the other waste products. That's what we are trying to do with the project that we have bring on board called HORES.
Sorry, the project?
It's called HORES. Holistic Reinforcement Environmental Sanitation.
Okay. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabua.
Now to other developments. She was dropped off at the WA ONA transport station from Techiman on May 17th this year. She was pregnant and deaf. The yet-to-be-identified lady is unable to communicate with a sign language. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that the WA Municipal Department of Social Welfare and Community Development Department, who for the past 3 weeks have taken custody of the young lady, is calling on the general public to help locate her family for integration.
According to the WA Municipal Director of the Department of Social Welfare and Community Development, Boy Gilbert, the lady, who is yet to be identified, is believed to be around 20 years and pregnant.
Yes, she was found at the WA OA station. That's where it's OA bus that brought her from Techiman. And that was where she was, nowhere to go. So some natives of WA, they know the Deaf Association president, Mr. Mumin Salifu. They call him, they WhatsApp him, and he came. He now came and picked her with the support of one of his colleagues. They brought her to our social welfare department. So we also instructed that it should be sent to the DOPSU. That was where it was sent on 17th. She was sent on 17th May 2024. Then the police prepared an extract and then handed over to social welfare. Since then, he has been with the Department of Social Welfare and the Gender Department. We have been taking care of her for this number of days or number of weeks that she has been with us.
She has hearing impairment. Whereas more, she is unable to communicate with a sign language, and hence the difficulty in getting information about her.
Even as of now, she cannot identify herself. We don't know her name. We don't know where she is coming from. She cannot even do the local sign language instead of to do the normal sign language. She cannot communicate in any form. So it's difficult for the Social Welfare Office and the Gender Department to trace where this lady is coming from. So we want to use this platform, Joy News, to appeal to everybody, the general public and NGOs and corporate societies, institutions. If they have seen this picture, they should try And if anybody knows the whereabouts of this lady, or if they can identify her, they should try and get in contact with any nearest police station or any social welfare office or any gender office. If they get there, the information will reach to the DOPSU in Wa or social welfare in Wa, where we can be able to locate the relatives, and then we can do the reunification so that the lady can go back to her parents or her relatives so that he can be able to live a normal life in society. He provided mobile numbers that could be used to get in contact with them. So my number is 024 833-1373, 020-5760-739. Any of this number you can call. If you call, we'll get. Whilst they are looking for her relatives and close family members, they also appeal to benevolent organizations and individuals to come to their aid because the department is at their wit ends. In fact, it's not easy. She has been with us. She has been with us for the past almost getting to 1 month now. Feeding is difficult. Other things, other basic necessities, housekeeping issue. We are also appealing to NGOs, philanthropists, civil society organizations, if they can come to our aid to support us to take care of this young lady who is highly pregnant and cannot be, the parents or the relatives cannot be traced. So we are appealing to NGOs and general public to come to her aid so that we can find a better place for her. And also, even we have a mind of putting her in a vocation where she can learn a trade. But for now, we want to keep her and look for the relatives there. We can now take a decision as to what she can do to help herself and a living for herself. The one municipal director of the Department of Social Welfare and Community Development says they are in talks with an orphanage so that she could be moved there for better protection. We want to put her in an orphanage, while we trace the family, because where we kept her is a shelter home. We only have a day watchman, we don't have a night watchman, and leaving her alone there is very dangerous. So for now, we have spoken with a manager of an orphanage who is willing to receive her. There she will be there while this information is going on air. If we are able to find the relatives, then we can go anytime and pick her so that we can do the reunification or the repatriation. Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Now, the overlord of Dagbon, Yana Abukari II, has banned the use of firearms in his kingdom. The Yana said the ban has become necessary due to save the good image of his kingdom. The Yana Abukari II said he was aware of the brazen impunity by some youth in carrying sophisticated weapons and live ammunition at various traditional and cultural events, especially during the installation of regents. The overlord disclosed this when he met all 36 paramount chiefs and sub-chiefs in Yendi.
The overlord raised the concern in a speech read on his behalf by the registrar of the Dagbon Traditional Council, Al-Hassan Fatau, at the emergency handing over of the newly built houses for affected victims of the Gomoa Palace redevelopment project. The Yana condemned the act of lawlessness by some of his chiefs who are involved in the practice.
Nanama, this meeting is called as a matter of urgency to discuss and take steps towards saving the good image of the kingdom, which is gradually being threatened through proliferation, misuse and abuse of small arms and light weapons by the youth during traditional and cultural events. I have been reliably informed by my elders, some security personnel and other peace-loving citizens about the brazen impunity by some youths in carrying sophisticated weapons and live ammunition at various traditional and cultural events, especially during installation of regents.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Al-Hassan Shaibu, assured the overlord they will carry through his request.
An announcement that has gladdened my soul, because it has always been a worry for RECSEC. And Rex's challenge was for us to infringe on the rights of the chiefs and people of Dagbon. Now that the overlord has spoken, I think it gives us the power to act in a certain manner to make sure that Dagbon is rid of small arms and light weapons.
On the resettlement of people who have been affected by the reconstruction of the new Gomoa Palace, and Danyana said 18 houses have so far been constructed.
Nanama, I am happy to inform you that 18 houses have so far been constructed for the affected families at the Gomoa Palace reconstruction site for relocation here in Yendi. We are here today to formally hand over this unprecedented project to the affected families who have shown patriotism and love for the Dagbon Kingdom.
The chairman of the Dagbon Development Committee, the Kugana Abdullahi Adam II, who spoke before the handing over of the keys, called for a peaceful coexistence.
Today, we are going to hand over their keys, their site plans, everything to them. And I just say that we want them to sit here peacefully.
Some of the beneficiaries thanked the Dagbon Development Committee for their support. They have done a yeoman's job and everybody is happy. There is everything in there, their toilets, their washrooms, and we have been handed over our land documents.
Well, I'll say that we are very grateful what the Overlord is doing for us. But to be frank, most of our compensations, we are not able to get it.
All African countries are being urged to embrace the United Nations Treaty, seeking to comprehensively ban the use of nuclear weapons around the world. Although 187 countries agree in principle and have been signed on to the treaty that never again should nuclear explosions take place anywhere around the world, a binding law is yet to come into force because some 44 specific countries are yet to ratify the treaty. Blessed Sogan has more in the following report, where he sits down with Executive Director of the CTBTO, Dr. Robert Floyd, who is also paying an official visit to Ghana.
Nuclear weapons back in public consciousness. These are the emerging concerns which were brought to the fore at the United Nations Security Council a couple of weeks ago.
Between 1945 and 1996, when the CTBT was opened for signature, over 2,000 nuclear tests were conducted.
But now the threat is ever increasing, prompted by new wars and conflict. There is, however, hope for experts who believe that the long-standing Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty will de-escalate the tension. Dr. Robert Floyd is Executive Secretary of the CTBTO.
Is where there's threats of use, and we thought that would never happen again. There's also an accumulation of a large amount of highly enriched uranium in another state than the material that could be used to make a nuclear weapon. And there's also the risk that North Korea could test a nuclear weapon again. So three different areas of concern.
Although the treaty has 187 signatories, some specific countries, including China, the United States and Russia, which recently de-ratified, are required to domesticate the law in order to make it enforceable.
Two of the world superpowers, the US and Russia, of course, not going ahead with the ratifications. Russia made a step forward and then made one step back, as you described it, at the United Nations Security Council. Do you feel that these two countries are willing to come on board and to put an end to the use of nuclear weapons?
If we look at the 5 countries that are considered nuclear weapon states, then of those, there are 2 that have signed and ratified the treaty, that is France and the United Kingdom. The other 3, the Russian Federation, China and the United States of America, have all signed but not yet ratified. as you said, the Russian Federation de-ratified last year, which was deeply regrettable. But I do believe that when the United States and China can find a way to move forward, the Russian Federation will move with them. And this is about geostrategic issues, etc. All of those countries are in full support for the object and purpose of this treaty, and because they've signed it.
In the meantime, the top executive of the CTBTO is on an official tour of Africa, seeking to build a coalition of countries across the continent that will give further boost to the international law.
But why should people worry, particularly in Africa? Well, it was in Africa that nuclear weapons were tested on the territory of various states in Africa. And those states still bear the marks of that in their environment and the health of their people. And that is something which I think has affected deep into the heart of Africa, and why Africa stands almost completely united with this treaty to call for a total ban on nuclear weapon testing.
Coming up next is Business Updates with Benjamin Akapo.
Well, thanks for staying. In our first business story, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has called for a concerted effort in the fight against illicit financial flows in the mining sector. Ghana, on the average, loses $1 billion annually to illicit financial flows in the extractive sector. Now, speaking at the 2024 West African Mining and Power Conference and Exhibition program, he urged relevant stakeholders to support government in the fight.
Distinguished guests, we must continue to work together to overcome the challenges that confront the industry, including the issue of illicit financial flows. While the recent report by Integrated Social Development Center, ISODIC, and the Global Financial Integrity, that our country loses millions of dollars through illicit financial flows in the gold industry is disturbing. It confirms previous reports that the extractive sector continues to be the major contributor to illicit financial flows from the African continent. As we work to drive sustainable investment opportunities, we must ensure that these investments benefit host communities who bear the immediate consequences of our operations.
In our next story, the Ghana Stock Exchange recorded 4 price gainers in May. According to the summary of May 2024 market activities, the top price gainers for the month were New Gold, GCB Bank, MTN Ghana, and Total Energies. There's more in this report.
The composite index gained 1.81% in May to record a new all-time high, bringing its year-to-date gain to 19.92%. The Ghana Stock Exchange Financial Stock Index also recorded a 0.41% increase, resulting in a year-to-date gain of 7.95%. Following its listing in May 2024, Atlantic Lithium added 2.85 billion cedis to increase the value of all stocks listed on the market to 84.02 billion cedis by the end of the month. The Ghana Stock Exchange's fixed income market saw traded volumes of 10.39 billion during May, double the volume traded in May 2023. Treasury bills accounted for 74.58% of volumes traded, whilst government bonds contributed 24.70%, with corporate bonds making up the remaining 0.77%. The value of all securities on the market stood at 328 billion cedis at the end of the month.
And on that buoyant note, we cap off the business updates. Handing over back to you, Sweetie Abochi.
Right, so that's how we're wrapping up for AM News. Coming up next is a newspaper review segment. Stay with us.
Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to review the newspapers, but very quickly, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helps us bring you this segment every weekday, and they're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Just reach out to them at any of their branches, starting from here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Chronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Energy State, Tema Community 22, Tichiman Hansua, and Esiaman Zima. You can reach them via the phone lines on, are you ready? 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Time now for me to introduce my guests joining the conversation this morning. And we have right next to me Professor Sharif Khalid, and he is Associate Professor of, I always get it twisted. Accounting and Finance. Okay, Accounting and Finance. And Bernard Mona, he needs no real introduction.
Flag bearer.
Pardon me?
I said flag bearer.
Flag bearer. Bernard Mona, you are still in your Che Guevara-esque. This time I will not mistake Africa for Ghana. You think you'll get me this time? you fooled me once.
No, I didn't. You saw Ghana colors and decided that it was Ghana man.
Yeah, I hadn't paid attention to
I just drew your attention.
Yeah, you just drew my attention. Anyway, so Bernard Mona also joins the conversation. So let's get into it. I'm going to give you gentlemen the usual 1 minute or so to reflect on something topical that you'd like to get into. I'll start with you, Bernard Mona.
Well, if something topical, yesterday, a group of us filed a petition to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, requesting them to do thorough investigations into the unknown sources of Madame Cecilia Dapa's wealth, particularly the sums of money that were retrieved from her home and those that were counted in her bank accounts, comparing her income and what she, within the short period, has amassed, because the bank statements even show even more glaring that it was just within the period that she became a minister that so much money was put into the bank accounts. And it is important to investigate that so that we will be able to know and ascertain where these monies are coming from. Obviously, the Office of the Special Prosecutor had concluded that they did not find anything untoward in terms of bribery and corruption. But what they could see is that there was suspicion of money laundering, which in itself is a crime. Either it is money laundering or money from drugs, because the sources were opaque and bleak in their sources. So it is important that the Commission on Human Rights takes up this. So yesterday, Shiraj received our petition. We are hoping that they will give us the response and institute an investigation into the matter. That investigations, I'm hoping, would invite the petitioners and also invite the petitioned or the person that we are asking to be investigated, so that we'll locate. I'm sure that even beyond that, Shiraj should go to Kumasi in the region, where we are told that Madame Cecilia Dapa has some houses. I'm sure the special prosecutor did not get to Kumasi. They only based their investigations within the houses and properties of Madame Cecilia Dapa within Accra. We are doing this in order to ensure that people that are vested with public office will come clean and ensure that resources meant for us are not taken advantage of for their personal and family benefit to the disadvantage of the Ghanaian people.
All right. So very quickly, I'll come to you, but before I do not know why you're optimistic about this. She's been cleared, I mean, from different angles. Even before any of this came out, the president said he had full faith in her integrity. And at this point, I don't know what else you want cleared.
No, you know, there are things that we call decisions that will serve as conventions. They will also serve to guide us. And so let Shraj do their investigations. Let Ayorkor that has done its investigations. And the Ayorkor report is clear. It will be used as one day as a reference point.
Okay.
The OSP has done its part. It will be used as reference point. The pronouncement of President Akufo-Addo will be used as reference point. Now, those references, will they be inimical for the forward march of our nation, or they will be beneficial for our forward march of a nation?
Right.
When you take such ugly decisions, don't forget that tomorrow you cannot come and prosecute somebody on the basis that, look, there have been, what do we call it, stare decisis, as the lawyers would call it. And so I am confident that going into Shraj, the outcome, and we can tender it. Look, yesterday this thing happened. This is how it was cleared. Okay. Therefore, somebody should be cleared or somebody should be implicated.
All right. Sheriff, your quick thoughts?
I mean,
and I'm asking for your...
mine, of course, and that's what I'm going. That's why I picked the Daily Graphic. And if you could see, sometimes when politicians get on a sponsorship spree trying to set an agenda, it's quite always very obvious.
What agenda are you
As you
seeing?
could see, I mean, and interestingly, what surprises me is that the Daily Graphic, which is a national daily, joins in the charade of all of this. It starts with Bawumia's humility, splendid, incomparable. Then you come to the Daily Guide, which says Bawumia leads Mahama in survey. Then you come to the almighty Daily Graphic, which says Dr. Bawumia preferred candidate, NDC most popular party.
Do you have a problem with that?
Of course, you should.
Wait, let me see. Ghanaian Times newspaper, do you have anything, Dr. Bawumia, there on the front page?
No. Ghanaian Times somehow is appearing to be the most credible newspaper.
This morning.
Despite that.
Gentlemen, hold on. Are you saying because...
This is a sponsored job.
Something has
happened. It's pretty obvious. There's a sponsored job.
No.
This is sponsored. You're in the media space.
Take it this way. when has Daily Graphic ever published surveys?
Surveys. When?
of even institutions, let alone individual professors.
It's laughable.
So all of a sudden, Daily Graphic is called upon to put on its front page a survey of one candidate.
But I mean, a poll is a poll, and this professor at the Kumasi Technical University on his own has conducted a poll, an interesting poll.
Okay, he has done the poll in Kumasi.
And what's the credibility?
I mean, we don't. We can get into the details, and then we can find out.
No.
I can find out.
You know, the worst is that the state newspaper cannot be a propaganda wing of the party.
No. So you're saying, give me this. So you're saying they can't. So the editor. I mean, you know, every paper has its editor. So if you're referring to Theophilus Yate, he is the editor.
Yeah, he should.
But I'm saying that, is there anything wrong with a paper like the Daily Graphic putting forward that there's been a survey and it says this?
When it's obvious if said political party is on an agenda spree to project a certain image of a political party, and you join the bandwagon on a Thursday morning to do that, there's everything for that.
It's not about Thursday morning. Sheriff, it is about, this is a survey. This is not the outcome of an election.
No.
The Daily Graphic should be reporting concrete and facts. These are conjectures.
In any case, how is it even worthy of a front?
No, these are conjectures of somebody.
This is the banner headline.
Yes, these are conjectures. Then Daily Graphic decides that you are going to bring conjectures to come and publish in your front page.
Okay, I think we started the news review already.
The essence of Daily Graphic.
Oh no!
So Bernard Mona,
it's a shame actually.
No, hold for me.
This doesn't
maybe when we're done with some of the details, you can tell me whether it's. But the Daily Graphic newspaper, Ghana Korea signed $2 billion deal. You know the South Koreans are on a certain trajectory trying to win. Some say they are joining the party a little late. In fact, pretty late, but better late than never. Parliament stakeholders agree to timely release of NHIS funds. Scheme owed 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. 6 billion Ghana cedis invested in TVETs. That's according to the director. I'm interested in this one as well on page 11. Graphics 95-year-old first photographer shares amazing story. These are stories that always
front page.
Always warm my heart.
The story again,
and they put it in the corner.
The corner, rather than the
Ghana's
front page.
what?
Graphics 95-year-old first photographer. He was the first photographer for the Daily Graphic shares amazing story.
So this morning, Daily Graphic has done disservice to a man who's dedicated his life
95 years.
95 years.
So many
First
years, but rather to put a survey that many of us can really collaborate.
Some people will
as
disagree
front page.
with you, but there's also, on the back page, Black Stars seek World Cup redemption against Mali. But let's go to that story. So, 2024 elections, according to that survey, Dr. Bawumia preferred candidate, NDC most popular party, 23.1%, undecided. That's according to this poll. But who conducted this poll? A baseline survey report by a political scientist has highlighted the strengths of the National Democratic Congress as a party and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a candidate for the 2024 general election. It states that the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, leads as the preferred presidential candidate for the 2024 elections, although the NDC remains the preferred party for the majority of the voter population. It's a bit incongruous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
But anyway, hold for me. The survey was conducted in April 2024. The survey report showed that 38.9% of the respondents favored Dr. Bawumia, with 36.1% preferring the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama. So that's a two plus percentage point difference. The report, however, said the NDC led in popularity, with 38.8% as the political party Ghanaians were likely to support in the coming election. The popularity of the NDC, it said, was higher than the NPP in Bono East, Greater Accra, Northern, OT, Savannah, Upper East, Upper West, and Volta regions, while both the NPP and the NDC were at par in popularity in the Western North region. Quoting it, it says, a very large number of prospective party supporters, 23.1%, were undecided on the party to support as at end of April 2024. Until they decide to take interest in one of the political parties, they remain floating. And this feeds into what we've known, that 20% plus are always floating voters. It also says all smaller parties put together are unpopular across the country as of April the 30th, 2024. I don't know how that will affect the Alan Chermatings and the others together as the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. I don't know how it will affect the other independent candidates, the likes of George Chumberima Edu, among others. And then just finally, to conclude, so you can properly cut into it. On the deciding factors, the respondents considered in choosing a presidential candidate: competency formed 50.5%, track record 22.5%, party affiliation 19.1%, financial inducement 3.7%. Please pay attention. Financial inducement 3.7%, religion 1.2%, ethnic background 0.9%, while none comes to mind formed 2.2%. Your reactions. I'll start with you, Bernard.
Well, a party that is said to be popular.
No, a candidate.
No, a party that is said to be very popular, the most populous political party, cannot get its candidate to win an election. But a party that has become so unpopular will have its presidential candidate as a preferred presidential candidate. I don't understand logic.
That's why when I started getting into it, I said it was incongruous.
I don't understand
it
logic
doesn't really...
because, you know, the Sankana English that I was taught may not be able to comprehend this. But clearly, you know, this is a professor sitting at... which one?
Please.
No,
let's not impugn his...
No. Sitting at the Kumasi Technical University. And does his research solo. And that research finds its way into national newspapers and becomes a front page. Now, Daily Graphic publishes it. Then you see that the almighty NPP wing takes it. I'm not sure. Where is the statement? Then the Citizen also publishes it.
We don't have the Statesman today.
So you can see that this is a well-cooked
agenda,
well-paid, well-oiled front-page headlines. To hoodwink who? The performance of the NPP within this period, the pronouncements of the vice president, and now the inconsistency with which he even carries himself. Things that he endorsed yesterday, today he's running away from them. We are told that the vice president, for instance, is the brainchild of e-levy, and that he actually wrote the e-levy, bill to Parliament. Then all of a sudden, the same vice president come and tell you that, no, I'll cancel or abolish e-levy. When we were protesting, sleeping rough in the frontage of Parliament, telling you that e-levy is a siphon of people's working capital, the Vice President was goading and aiding. They brought people from sick beds, put them in ambulances so they can vote for something that the Vice President believes is inimical for business growth and is inimical for the survival of poor people. Today, the Vice President says he's coming to cancel it. The Vice President says that he's coming to take away emission taxes. Today, we are faced with reality. The promise of, look, I've worked in the Bank of Ghana before. I know that all the money we need to develop this country is here. We don't need to go and borrow. That today, Ghana is in huge debt, unable to breathe, suffocating. That candidate obviously cannot pass the test of being a preferred candidate. So
But this is a poll. A poll can swing. If you look at how popular, I mean, or how.
No.
If you look at the voting pattern.
Okay, so we sit here. We sit here,
Relax.
and among everybody, I am the most popular person, but you are preferred.
No, I get it. I get that point. I said from the start that it was incongruous for me, but it's also possible.
I'm really wondering what kind of statistical language is being used here. And for me, my disappointment this morning is that the daily graphic.
No, this is the professor talking.
It's carrying this.
That we are popular,
right?
But somebody else is preferred.
Which department is he? Which department is he?
He's at the Kumasi Technical University. He's a political scientist.
Which department?
Yeah, political science.
Political science department.
Right.
There's a political science department at
at the Kumasi.
At the Kumasi Technical University.
Technical University.
A baseline survey report by a political scientist.
Yeah, so you see, even
political scientist.
It muddies the situation.
At Kumasi.
Can we check from your paper whether it specifies which department? I mean, you could look at it.
Political scientist as a technical university is quite worrying.
Okay, so here it says, and this is a bit misleading. The Daily Guide says, a later survey conducted by the Kumasi Technical University. From what we've seen so far, it says, according to a survey carried out by Professor Smart Sapong, an associate professor of statistics.
Yes.
Okay, associate professor of statistics. So maybe...
So they even got it wrong. Daily Graphic got it wrong.
Political scientist, statistician. So which one is it? Because professor of statistics versus political scientist. But there's even a point.
Yeah.
There's even a point to make that, for example, the University of Ghana, my alma mater, that institution takes these things very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
If you see something coming out, it is not a Professor Ali Duseidu or a Dr. Kwame Asa-Asante who has. It's something that they have done as a department.
Either ISA would come out with something or the business.
And then put together. So you wouldn't have ISA coming, it is a...
No, but this tells you clearly it's a political agenda which has failed. I mean, and I think that it's an insult to the good people of
Well, I don't know, but...
No, it actually compromises the integrity of the Kumasi Technical University. Because anybody picking this, if you take Daily Guide, it says that published by the Kumasi Technical University.
And that he's a professor of statistics. And this one says he's a political scientist.
The statistics department did not commission this.
It hasn't been collaborated.
Because I think we may have to have some interaction.
If it's not commissioned,
in the coming days with the Kumasi Technical University,
if it was commissioned, it should have been used in the name of the statistics department,
right?
Not in the name of the individual. And Daily Graphic, petty questions that you could find out whether this story is authentic or not.
And you
have come to bamboozle the whole nation.
You would see the effort the editor has put in to give it credibility.
So are you gentlemen saying that you can't give this? No, hold for me. Hold for me. You can't give this any credibility at all. I was making the point earlier that on any given day, we have a lot of political animals in our country, and I don't use that because it's a term we use.
Oh, don't forget
the NDC.
Reverends now don't watch. They don't watch.
Bernard Mona, you are being mischievous. But the NPP and the NDC on any given day will have large constituencies.
Of course.
Now, depending on whom you speak to, which is where sometimes polls can be, depending on whom you speak to,
that's why we have,
you may not get the necessary, just hold for me, the necessary temperature of the country. You may be able to get in a certain poll, some people leaning towards a way that you don't think is the generality
Where was
of
this
the
conducted? Ashanti region?
Well,
that's another issue. You see, we need to know the domain of the poll to start with. We need
because it mentions a number of regions.
Yes.
Did you pay attention to that?
Yeah, I did.
It actually mentioned that the NDC was more popular in a certain constituency versus some other constituencies where they were at par with all of that. So obviously it was.
Yeah, but again, why my whole
different
concern, which if you could see how me and Bernard decided to just peruse this, and you could see it crumbling. Right. Here is that.
And you're an academic.
Yes, I'm an academic. That's why I was shocked at how it was reported. He said, Dr. Bawumia preferred candidate, NDC most popular party. I mean, from a statistician.
No, immediately I read the headline.
Right?
I was scratching my head like, okay, so what's going on?
I mean, when you talk about feeling the temperature of the country, right, and in terms of popularity, this would have even have some credibility. I'm not saying that I want to say this is the outcome I respected. But we all know the popularity of Dr. Bawumia. We all feel it. Right, from his days in the stage, public lectures at a central university and how he pontificated of what good he could do of the economy and all of that. And when given the mandate, how he flip-flopped with the economy when it comes to economic management, what he's doing currently on stage. And you juxtapose all of this to what is being reported that he is the most preferred candidate. That is surprising. Anyway, it depends on the cohorts. But I want to look at it from a critical academic lens, where it says that you have the most popular party and you have a preferred candidate. How does this operate? Right? And you would see the deliberate attempt. When I sat here, I told you that, look, 3 newspapers, all trying to splash it. It just tells you that it was cooked. How important is this to the good people of Ghana that it becomes banner headline even on a national daily? And you see the effort at which the editor puts to give credibility to the pollster by referring to the person as a political scientist, when, in fact, a technical university such as Kumasi Technical University
I got it immediately.
wouldn't even have a political science department. So it tells you that they even did a shoddy job, right, in trying to project this sponsored banner headline to make Dr. We know he's on the ground, and they're just trying as much as they can to do this. Because
so point made. I think your point is well made.
So at least, a word to the editor of the Daily Graphic. I think that this is a national daily. No matter what pressure government, we know the country is under siege. But try to do your checks very well and report.
Let's be fair to the editor as well.
No, that's why we are.
They have discretion.
Yeah,
they have discretion.
Yeah, but the discretion
and they do what
must
they
be measured with prudence.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the papers now. I'll start with you, Bernard. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. What stories are you going to look at?
Outcome of South Korea Africa Summit. Ghana secures $2 billion financial deal to implement key projects over 5 years.
Okay.
Then Lands Minister inaugurates 5 million ultramodern Akim Odan Minerals Commission office complex. Retain part of profit in Ghana, Asante-Hene to mining companies. Wa East District records 147 teenage pregnancies. I'm thrilled by a story at the back page, so permit me. It says that 22 poultry farmers get 12.5 million World Bank support to produce 2 million bears yearly. I have interest in this particular story because I'm a farmer.
Tell me.
And in particular, that if we are not careful, everything about our agriculture, and particularly about our food, about our meat and everything, is being controlled away from us. Now, this support that they are giving us, they are going to give you day-old chicks. The Ashanti region is going to get about 40,000 day-old chicks. Who is going to supply them? We will be here, and these day-old chicks will be brought from the Netherlands, from Belgium, and other places. That's where we now buy turkey and other things from.
Yeah.
And so what eventually...
Even from Brazil. I heard, interestingly, because of the cost of local production, we're getting poultry products from Brazil.
So we bring these day-old chicks from Turkey, from Belgium, from Brazil, from the Netherlands. Then you flood the Ghanaian economy. Taste is fast changing. At the end of the day, people will begin to prefer this. The World Bank and the IMF will cease to give you support any longer. Now that they know that they have captured your appetite for it, your economy is crumbling. Poultry production will totally kaput. Do you understand? So the Ministry of Agric must be on the watch out. You see, this is like a bait. What do you call it? When you are going to catch a fish, you put something on the hook. then you swing it in. Then you get a bigger meat outside of it. Precisely is what the World Bank and the IMF are doing. They have been doing this in collaboration with many other countries, particularly the European Union and the United States of America, to ensure that African agriculture is totally taken away from us. Because what we now have control over probably is our food production. Now, if they are able to take our food production, we have nothing. See, we are securing money from South Korea to come and do what? This is going to be a loan. So all the time, before we can do anything, we must go external.
Right.
Common pottery, akukonam, non-nene. We have to go outside to go and get it and bring to this country. I get devastated that our leaders don't want to think beyond the parameters of the documents that they put before them. When they put these documents, you have to interrogate it. Look, there are institutions like Third World Network, right, that have gone into these things in detail, and they will be able to tell you what the consequences of these things are. We have this institution here, led by Dr. Ayorkor Graham and others. Subject these documents to them. Let them proofread. Let them tell you what their suspicions will be. And I'm sure that our nation will become better than what we are doing currently.
Right. Are you done with the
I am.
All right. So let's check out some other papers.
Well, today I think we've just had
quite a debate on that.
We seem to have daily guide and daily graphic. And for me, that actually, NLA. I mean, lotteries. You know, lottery and gambling. I'm a Muslim, so I hardly really look into these things.
No, it is worrying.
But it is worrying to say, okay, well, it says that the NLA hosts European lotteries. I'm really wondering what it is that has brought the European
but you know what?
Into town, yeah.
Can we do this? Just get into the story before, so that we have an idea.
I want to say something before you get to the story. Have you noticed that most television stations, radio, or let me put it generally, media houses have now become lotto houses?
Oh, they have become, indeed. And that's worrying. Yeah. That's worrying, indeed.
So you get up in the morning, you get up in the morning and National Lotteries is using media houses to engage people to do lottery.
They will tell you that they need to pay their bills. They need to pay staff. They need to pay for electricity and water.
My point is, you look at all these apps that are being used that are not even controlled. And the 18s are getting into this. And it's very discretionary. And we all know what...
Some of those ones where you can... I don't want to mention...
Yes, but I think that is something that we need to really look at. But
look, I've always said...
My religion actually doesn't even permit.
I've always said...
that, but for the social good of it, it's good to have that engagement and discussion to say, you know, can we put impediments in place to actually... Expect more so with the under 18s.
I'm not a betting person. I'm not a betting person, and I've always had my aversion to some of these things, especially with the number of youth getting on board. It tells you there's a dislocation.
Have you checked the betting companies?
The dislocation in our society and in our economy. Because if too many people are getting on board these things, it tells you that there's something wrong somewhere. Then the other issue is the fact that we've even taxed. Are you aware of that?
Oh, yeah.
The 10%. The 10%. So we've gone to the point where we are even, we've accepted, and now we are taxing the earnings. 10%. I'm not denigrating, any.
No, but
but I'm saying, I mean, my principles are against it.
So it's an error.
But then it's got to.
It's an era where you probably would have a Muslim candidate campaigning for interest-free or Islamic banking services of riba, and then you have lottery or lottery services.
Let's get into the
But then again, as you said, you would have to have like the gaming commission. It's not just a lottery thing. When we talk about betting and gaming, it's a broader stakeholder issue. And I think that's where the churches...
And the CEO, Samir Uku, I think for the second time has been adjudged,
Well, but I don't know in what capacity is he being adjudged CEO of the year.
What does he produce?
What do you do at the lottery service?
But I'm just saying that for the second, for a second time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what goes into these awards, right? When we should be having CEOs of farming agencies getting awards, but we are rather awarding CEOs of lotteries and betting institutions. That it tells you.
Can we get into the story? Let's just get a feel of the story. And time is ticking. Yeah, let's get a feel. It's on page 6, is it?
Page 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, NLA hosts European lotteries. The National Lottery Authority has hosted European lotteries in a training program. on responsible gaming, okay? This formed part of the NLA's commitment to promote responsible gaming practices in accordance with the standards of the World Lottery Association. The training, attended by management of the NLA, held sessions for retailers, private lotto operators, third-party collaborators, and lotto marketing companies. The NLA has achieved WLA Level 2 certification in responsible gaming and has applied to attain Level 3. So I don't know what kind of level, what goes into the categorization of these levels and what we have done in our part of the world in terms of responsible lottery or gambling, be it what it is. That's the conversation we're having as far as the youth are concerned, and this is what is being done. Whether it's a tick box exercise, we don't know. It'll be good to actually look at the metrics of that. So it says Level 3 certification requirement stipulates that the authority embarks on such training to periodically strengthen its lottery operation in accordance with best practice of the WLA. And by WLA, to help listeners, is World Lottery Association.
Okay, so I think we've delved into that. But there's another interesting story on that page. It's been happening. Fire guard structures at Circle. Bernard, Prof, it appears, when I first joined the multimedia group, about the first 3, 4, 5 reports I ever did had to do with fires. They were just happening almost, every week or every other week. It is almost, I don't know how we think. You put up the thing, beautiful, grand, or of course, in some instances, it is crammed with a lot of, it's a recipe for disaster. One of these around the Odona area, I remember going there. I took a bit of a risk because, yes, we had been there, the fire service came. But there was this point, there was this little stall made of metal, those metal stalls, a little one. And the cameraman, I had him film. We were both standing there. That gas cylinder could have exploded, by the way, but we just wanted to capture the gas cylinder in there. In these, so when there's a, in fact, it could be the cause, or if there is, it could what? Let the fire just escalate into something very incendiary. And you ask yourself, how? And then it will happen, then we'll come and say, government should come and support, then in some instances, taxpayers' money. I don't get it.
I think
I don't get it.
Ben, the health and safety regime in this country ought to be relooked at again. Not just the health and safety regime. I also think that the National Fire Service ought to be seen as doing a very good job. I'm not saying that they are not doing a very good job, but when you have places such as, or public places such as markets or market squares, if you go with your camera crew today, probably the number of fire extinguishers and hydrants that you could locate in these places may either be non-existent.
Okay, so pardon me, I have to do this. We have a breaking story, and there's something sad that has happened in the Gomoa Mampong area. On the back of flooding, we hear the road, a main road, has actually been affected. We have Kofi Ajay, our correspondent in that area. Kofi Ajay, what can you report? What can you report of this? We hear the road has split. Now, if you look there, you can actually see it.
I'm at Gomoa, the main Ayorkor bridge. What I can report is that the bridge has taken leading to the blockage of the road. Currently, Kaswa Cape Coast Highway has been blocked. No car can bypass the Ayorkor River from maybe Cape Coast to Kaswa, as the same thing from Kaswa to Cape Coast. Currently, the road has been blocked. The bridge has caved in. No car is moving.
So you're saying the bridge was affected and by and the road as well?
The government has awarded double dualization from Kaswa to Winneba Stretch. So the contractor is working on the road, and he has blocked the main bridge that serves River Ayensu at Ayorkor. Those who are familiar on this road, when you are traveling from Cape Coast to Kaswa, when you reach Ayorkor, there's a bigger river over the called River Ayensu. And the contractor is constructing modern bridge on the main bridge. So he has blocked the main bridge that serves the river. So that is that's what has caused the flood over here. So currently, Gomoa is not more director is here. I don't know what they are doing to save lives and property. And 3 buildings have also been collapsed with about 400 people affected, living homeless. Nadmo, that's a good morning. Welcome to join me.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
What can you tell us?
Currently, in fact, we were here yesterday thinking that the water will be reduced so that the commuters or the drivers can have access to the road. But as you can see here, the road has been blocked. I think the bridge has collapsed totally. So we are appealing to the motorists or the drivers coming from Kaswa. When you are approaching Ayorkor Junction, there is a junction called Port. You can use that road. Then you use our road. Then you enter Winneba Junction. Or when you are coming from Cape Coast at Winneba Roundabout, you use your right. There's a community called Ginger that you can use that to Akwete Junction. But this is what I can say for now. So we are appealing to the drivers. We are appealing to the drivers. Nobody should get closer to Ayorkor at the Mampong stretch of the Winneba Kaswa Road. It is dangerous and it can kill. Please.
What caused this?
The contractor wanted to divert the water and start building the ultra-modern bridge over here. But as you can see, the volume of the water is so heavy to the extent that it cannot the bridge cannot contain the water. That has caused the disaster now.
We learned some people have also affected.
Yes, we have 3 buildings collapsing. Yesterday around 11 p.m., we went and evacuated them to a safer place. Almost 150 to 160 houses have been submerged by the water. So currently they are occupying some school buildings and Pentecost church. In fact, they have been helpful to us. They have accommodated them this morning.
Have you consulted the contractor? And what are they saying?
Yes, we are in touch with the contractor and we are asking him to come and open at least one side of the bridge so that the water can have its free flow.
Kofi Ajay, can we know who the contractor is?
The name of the contractor is NAG Fairmont. NAG N-A-G, and the Fairmont is F-A-I-R-M-O-U-N-T. NAG Fairmont.
NAG Fairmont.
Yes, please.
Kofi, we're grateful to you. We'll be coming back to you intermittently for further details and see whether these gates will be opened and to decrease this chaotic scene on that stretch. But that is Kofi Ajay, our correspondent in the area, bringing us the latest on that Gomoa Mampong stretch. So the warning is that if you're going to use that stretch, avoid the Winneba Kaswa road, at least from that particular junction. The road was blocked by the contractor. The bridge gave in or caved in, and now this is the situation. What did you say, Bernard?
This contractor is going to be paid. No punitive actions will be taken against him. There is a consultant to the road work. There are supervising...
I was going to ask, so who are the technical people on the ground?
There are supervising engineers.
Who did this?
Who decided that a route, what do we call it, a bridge that allows passage of water should be blocked. And there is no diversion where the water should pass. And we are in the raining season. And you cause a major disaster of this magnitude. And then everybody will sit down, and Ministry of Finance will be willing to pay, Ministry of Roads will be saying that contractors should be paid.
I mean, the contractor should get paid, but maybe the liabilities for this should be dealt with.
If you are a contractor and you do shoddy job, your company is blacklisted. Minimum 5 years.
I mean, those are subsequent actions. But I'm saying that for the work, to be fair, in contracts, for the work that has been done, the person will have to be paid. Maybe, but look, you caused this amount of damage and all of that. Less this, and maybe you are not going to get any contracts. I mean, that is fair. But you cannot say that for what has been done, even what has been done out.
No, shoddy jobs must not be tolerated.
I'm not saying it should be tolerated. But this is so sad. Did you see that it had gone into some houses?
No.
And some of the cars in there, it could go into your engine.
No, the cars in motion. One of them is like a fuel
tanker.
Yeah, I saw it. It's coming. And I'm even worried. You see, the water is moving this way. And the cars are coming, and if you know water,
exactly,
the ferociousness of the water can easily lift one of these cars.
In fact, even these tankers,
yes,
if the water
can just
to a certain
lift
level,
it,
So
it can take the tanker off.
You see, we are not only blaming the contractors here. What's the highway authority doing? What's urban roads doing?
Look at people's
houses. Roads
houses.
should have been blocked up and cordoned, right? And maybe emergency routes redirected.
Look, these are people's
These
houses.
are emergency response issues we should be talking about. So, but very soon when things start happening, then probably
Look, people's houses.
People's homes are.
So now you are calling on NADMO to use state resources to go and redeem a situation where somebody decided to become reckless or decided to take money and refuse to use their professional etiquettes to apply to the job.
For me, I don't
look at this taxi.
on whoever yet, because
look at this
stakeholders
taxi.
involved, a lot could have gone wrong even from the side of
okay, so look at the fuel tanker
agencies that are meant to do the right thing.
Anyway, we have to go. We have to go shortly. But this is, mind you, this is something that we're going to be following. We've brought you those initial scenes, our breaking story. And as the show goes on and in our subsequent bulletins, we will be bringing you details of that.
But
it's a very sad
about
development.
the circle thing.
Yeah,
I just want
on it.
Yeah, so let's quickly wrap on that. We have to go.
Yes. So for me also, you look at all of these fabrications that have been going on. That worries me a great deal in all of these containers that we have in our marketplaces and market squares.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a fire situation.
And people are cooking in a lot of them.
A lot of them. And these are like metallic plates, right? The heat and everything. And so if someone even stays there and there is bad fire, it tells you what. So I don't know what sort of measures goes into determining the kind of material that is meant to be used for public places such as market squares and the likes of. So I think that this is where we had to get our health and safety regime just not only perfect but right, and also where the Ghana National Fire Service ought to be seen as very proactive in actually helping with the fire extinguishers, assembling points, design. You go to some of these markets, for all you know, the assembling point is even being used as a sales grounds for someone else. And when there is fire directions, nobody even knows where the assembling point is. There are not green arrows pointing to where to go to. So I think that there's a lot more to be done. We have our mothers and grandparents there. We have our brothers and sisters all out there. So
well, we must also be responsible when we go into these places, knowing that
you could be responsible. No, you could be responsible, but if the right or safety regime is not put in place, it will still spill over to you.
Final, I'm not reading any stories, just headlines I'll leave you with on the international front. ANC eyes national unity government. You know, we know what has happened in South Africa. French military trainers would be legitimate target in Ukraine. Republicans attack Biden's border plan, and there's still that gag on President Trump as far as the hush money issue is concerned, which his lawyers want lifted. And then global public debt hits record $97 trillion in 2023. That's according to the UN. But there's an interesting story I'll direct you to on page 7. What is plea bargaining? It's become popular on the back of the AG, Dr. Kasila, forcing tussle. You might want to check out details of that. Gentlemen, 10 seconds, final words.
Well, I think that we just have to be a serious nation. Yeah. We are not angry enough about the...
4 seconds gone.
For the difficulties that our nation faces.
Okay.
And young people must rise up.
All right.
For me, my pet peeve this morning is the Daily Graphic actually carrying this survey of a hatchet job that's being done by a political party.
Hatchet job?
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's pretty much obvious. So I think that they should refrain from doing that. They are a national daily paper. They should give us some respect and make sure that they report rightly on some of these things.
I see they've really infuriated
me. Yeah, they've really infuriated me.
Right, so this is how we cap off the news review. Yeah. A few birthdays. Today we celebrate the birthday of Chief Superintendent Esther Mausi Hoga of the Ghana Immigration Service, who serves as the Deputy Head of the Commonwealth Section. It goes on and on. We celebrate you, Chief Superintendent Esther Mausi Hoga. We also celebrate, this skipped me yesterday, Samuel Dame, producer extraordinaire on the Super Morning Show and, of course, News File, together with our very own Kingsley Otu. Yesterday was your birthday, Samuel Dame, and we celebrate you. You're a fantastic gentleman.
He also has
the final one is to celebrate Dr. Albert Schweitzer Lomo Kecha. He is Honorable Consul of Ghana to Ukraine. And He's actually celebrating his birthday today, and he's told me that he's dedicating the day to reaching out to the needy and the less privileged in society. And he's encouraging all of us to do the same on his birthday. So we celebrate Samuel Dami, we celebrate Dr. Albert Schweitzer Lomokecha, and we also celebrate Chief Superintendent Esther Mausi Hoga. Before we veer into sports, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helped us bring you this segment. They're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches, starting with Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady and Nigeria State, Tema Community 22, and there's also Techiman Hanswa and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports is up next. We'll be telling you about that big day for the Black Stars against Mali and more. Do stay.
Good morning. Let's do sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak, and it is a big day for Ghana as the Black Stars face a daunting challenge against Mali in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Now, Ghana's hopes of qualifying took a significant hit after the defeat to Comoros in their last qualifier. It is now imperative for the team to return to winning ways against the Malians, who have emerged as a boogie side for Ghana in recent meetings. And that makes tonight's game a formidable one. Now, let's look at the standings at the moment and what's at stake for the Black Stars. So, Comoros are leading Group I. They've got 6 points. Mali have got 4 points. They are in second. Central African Republic, they have got 4 points as well, and they are in third. They beat Chad by 1-0 yesterday. Now, Madagascar are in fourth. They've got 3 points. And the Black Stars are in fifth after 2 matches with 3 points. Now, with this particular qualification format, for you to secure an automatic qualification for the 2026 World Cup, you've got to top your group. So Ghana must be at the top of the group if they are to qualify for the World Cup in America, Canada, and then Mexico. And that means they have to beat Mali tonight. Now, should Ghana beat Mali, they will move up to second in the table with 6 points. They can't move to first because Comoros have got better head-to-head than Ghana. But should they draw, they would move up to third on the league log, and that wouldn't be good because Comoros will be facing Madagascar tomorrow as well. And should they win that particular game, they'll be extending their stay at the summit of the table. They'll get 9 points. So it is a must-win game for the Black Stars tonight. Now, we can now hear from the Black Stars head coach, Otuado, who has an idea on how to beat Mali tonight.
It's difficult to say. Surely we have a plan, how we want to play. I think we observed them well. Almost all the players also play in the Ligue 1. They're very, very strong. So we have our ideas, but surely I can't tell what is our plan to win this match. I'm happy to be here. It's a very important match today for us. We are 1 point behind Mali, and we have to win. This will be the best to guarantee our chances to qualify for the World Cup. But we know it's going to be very, very tough. Mali has a very, very strong team. They showed recently in their games against Nigeria or Cote d'Ivoire how really good they are. They have a lot of young talents in their teams, and in the FIFA World Round list they are above us. So Mali is a very good team. It's very, very difficult for us to beat them, but we have to try. They're 1 point above us, and we have a good team as well. In the FIFA World Round list they are above us. So this shows how good and competitive they are. They showed in the last game against Nigeria how good they are. And also, even at AFCON when they played against Ivory Coast, they're very, very unlucky. So for us, it's a very, very strong team. But we have the possibility to still beat them. We also have a strong team, and it's going to be an equal match.
Now, captain for Ghana in tonight's game is Thomas Partey. The midfielder says he has the experience to lead the Black Stars to victory.
Been out for a while, I know, but I came back during the season, to finish, and I've played a lot of games for the national team. I know how we have to play. I know the system that the coach wants, and I think with the experience I have, I'll be able to, to get the team together and also to lead the young players who are coming in to be able to get in quite easily.
Let's now get the thoughts of some Ghanaians ahead of the game tonight.
We expect nothing but a win from the Black Stars. I know it's going to be a difficult game. They're playing far away in Mali. Mali have a very formidable team that they put together. We have a young crop of players that Otoado has just assembled and is trying to gel the team as they go along. But I expect them to put in their best performance tomorrow. Somebody like Partey, I expect Partey to live up to the party tomorrow. He has to come up to the party and play very well. I mean, once he's in the game, and others like Kudus and the guys who are in front are able to take the chances that we create, I'm sure we'll be able to beat the Malians. It's going to be a difficult game, but I expect a win from us. Nothing apart from a win.
I think we've got to a time that the whole nation have to come to support the Black Stars. Yes, the whole nation has been disappointed in few months, or I'll say a year past, but we need to plead with everyone to come on board with their support, their prayers, encouragement, and let's hope and pray that they can do something great in Mali, and that will be, we'll take it a step from there.
Do you have any probable lineup you wish Otoado would use for the game against Mali?
What I will say is that he should go for the best players that he has seen. Most of the time we end up using names to play, but if the person is 18 years old and he's been called into the Black Stars and he's a good player and it's a good material and has shown his quality, it should field him. We shouldn't go with the names that we've relied on for the past years that even most of them give us a broken heart in Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. So he should go for his best.
We have a new coach, Otoado coming back and all that. Do you think we have, that charisma to, pull something great in Bamako tomorrow?
In football, you can never say never. If the team put up a good performance and they gel together as a team, and players don't go and show their individual talent, and also some don't go there to protect their limbs, trying to hold on to their careers and don't sacrifice and die a little for the nation, we may come back empty hands. But I think all of them should put everything aside and go all out for the country.
Now, let's look at what you need to know ahead of that particular game tonight between Ghana and then Mali. We can start by looking at the head-to-head record of the two sides. Yes, some interesting matches there. So Ghana and Mali have met 10 times, and it is the Black Stars who are having the commanding lead. They've won 5 of the 10 matches. Mali have won 3, and 2 ended in a draw. But in recent matches, the Malians are beginning to change the narrative. In the last 6 matches between Mali and the Black Stars, Mali have won 3. The Black Stars have won 2, and 1 ended in a draw. So the Black Stars really have to play above themselves tonight if they are to secure a win. But the Black Stars' form does not really ooze optimism, because in the last 5 matches of the Black Stars, they haven't won a game. They suffered 2 defeats, and 3 of the matches ended in a draw. But when you look at Mali, Mali have won 3 matches. They've lost 1, and then they drew 1. And even the defeat, it came at the hands of eventual champions of the continent, that is Ivory Coast, at the Africa Cup of Nations. You can even extend this particular record of Mali to their last 13 matches. They suffered just a defeat to Ivory Coast. So they are really in a good shape, and the Black Stars' performance is not really oozing optimism there. Now, let's go to the key players we should look forward to. We have this man there, the midfielder of Mali, Kamori Doumbia. He has made 25 appearances for Brest in the French Ligue 1. He's helped them qualify for the Champions League this season. He scored 6 goals and he's provided 5 assists. He's a midfielder. He plays in the number 10 role. So he's a player that the Black Stars must try to stop. Now, and the man there for the Black Stars is Mohamed Kudus. 33 Premier League appearances, 8 goals and 6 assists provided. He's been a key player for the Black Stars. He scored 2 goals at the World Cup. He scored 2 goals at the African Cup of Nations. So he's someone that Otoado will really rely on in that particular game tonight. Now, we can look at the surviving players of the Black Stars in their last win over Mali. That was at the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. It's Thomas Partey, the man who captains in tonight's game. He started in that particular game in 2017. And Jordan Ayew, he is also in the current squad as well. He also started in that particular game against Mali in 2017. And guess what the scoreline was? Ghana won by a goal to nil. I think the AM show, my name is Haruna Mubarak. The show continues right after this. Please stay.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now recall that about a week ago, Professor Ajiman Bedru-Akosa made some pronouncement that communal eating, soupy foods, can spread hepatitis B. Some people have come out to say that indeed it makes sense, but the Hepatitis B Foundation of Ghana have some concerns that they've raised. And in fact, it's not just concerns. Now they're issuing a 7-day ultimatum to this renowned cellular pathologist and lifestyle wellness consultant, Professor Ajiman Bedru, to retract what the foundation calls a false statement. But not just the foundation. Now, Professor Paul Osei-Sampany, who is also a forensic histopathologist and a consultant pathologist at CAF, is also saying that he supports the assertions or pronouncements made by Professor Bedru-Akosa. So let's get on the phone with him now. He's joining us via Zoom, rather, and understand exactly what his concerns are. Professor Osei-Sampany, you're welcome to the program.
You're welcome.
So let's start by answering this simple question. These pronouncements made by Professor Bedru-Akosa, are they false as claimed by the Hepatitis B Foundation of Ghana?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that it's not false. In fact, let me first of all greet your cherished witness and also greet the members of Hepatitis B Foundation of Ghana. In as much as everybody empathize with their condition, we must say that we are also in their shoes. Like anybody at all could also be infected and live with that condition, just as someone who would have been infected with HIV. So I really empathize with them. But however, let's get to the substantive issue at stake, that they believe that what Professor Bedru-Akosa said is false and lies. I beg to differ. It's never true. In fact, if you read the WHO global report on hepatitis B virus, that is 19th of April 2024. That's as recent as some few months ago, 19th April 2024. It states categorically that among other things, among other means of transmission of the virus, in fact, sweat, saliva, tears, vaginal fluid, and any other, some other things are also contributing factors. And that it's it's very clear. So those of you who are actually having some doubt, the recent WHO global report on hepatitis B states that it is true that saliva and other body fluids such as sweat and then tears can also spread, especially hepatitis B virus, not other virus like the hepatitis C, but rather hepatitis B.
Right. Now, that is in opposition to what the foundation is saying, that there's no scientific backing to their claim. But what I'm curious about is, do you see the wisdom in what they're saying, that it spreads fear and panic and discrimination for those who have the virus, hepatitis B? Because if you're saying don't eat soupy foods in groups, if you know that someone has hepatitis B, you're tempted to keep your distance from that person. And so such assertions made in public could cause fear and panic and discrimination. Your response to that?
Was Professor Kusa stating things that has everything to do with scientific facts, or you're just, just congesting some form of congestions? No. I think Professor Kosa was talking based on scientific proof, scientific facts, scientific write-ups, and scientific research that has come to support the fact that saliva and all this. So probably he was not, in actual fact, trying to put some form of stigma or some fear or panic among people who hitherto are not affected, or those who are affected and probably likely to, as it were, spread the disease. But so, if you are spreading a disease, you are not spreading a disease among people who are not positive, but you can also be reinfecting those who are actually hepatitis B virus positive. And so therefore, he was actually saying these things just for us all to be mindful of that fact that one can easily contract the disease by eating, in a communal style as we practice in Africa. In fact, if you look at it, Professor Kusa never made mention of Ghana. He said eating communally. The only thing that about Ghana that we believe that is unique, for Ghanaians is fufu and chozafi, which is also not common only in Ghana. People in Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, in fact, almost all African countries eat communally. So therefore, he was not making reference to only Ghanaians. He was making reference to world all over, which of course, where communal eating is common.
But this is the Hepatitis B Foundation of Ghana, though. Are you saying that they don't have their facts right?
Exactly so. Exactly so. The fact that they have the facts that are actually, found in textbooks, but those that are found, in fact, there are a lot of authorities that support it. In fact, time will not allow me to go through all the authorities. But those who are interested in knowing it, a lot of it. This thing dated back in 1862, when St. Veil actually was able to detect that saliva and other body fluid can be one of the means by which the virus can be transmitted. 1862, that is where this thing was first discovered. And people have actually gone into it till 2024, when even the WHO also came to support that assertion. So it's not something Professor Kusa out of the blues said. Said about it. But the question is that is what the truth is. So probably the latest one is what I've given to them. If they are interested, they can go and have a look at it. That is 19th April 2024. That is the WHO Global Report on Hepatitis B and how it is transmitted. So they can go and have a look at it. It's not something that I'm also sitting here, conjuring magic from anywhere, but that's a fact.
So, Professor Dr. Sampini, what do you make of this 7-day ultimatum that the foundation has issued to Dr. Akukosa?
Well, I believe that they should rather seek more knowledge about it, and probably be grateful to Professor Kusa for bringing out some of these facts, so that they themselves will be mindful of that fact that there are so many other means by which one can transmit it. So those who have it and believe that the only means by which one gets it is mother to child, or through sexual activity and any other things apart from body fluid, they might be living in some dreamland. So they should have a different approach to how the disease or the virus can be actually transmitted. And so I will only advise them that, if it is law, let them go to court. It's good. Let us test the law and see whether it can hold or not. But then the first thing remains, Professor.
Are you saying that Professor Ajimambedu Akosa will not retract these words or these pronouncements?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he'll retract. But let me just end this interview by telling that, unfortunately for us, you see, when it comes to Africa, and for that matter, Ghana, where we all come from, what happens is that we don't actually participate in a lot of these research processes. For instance, if you come to tell a Ghanaian who for some reason has contracted the virus that, okay, can I take your saliva and look at it instead of blood, only your saliva or maybe tears or maybe your sweat, and have a look at it. Somebody may think that you are going to use it for ritual purposes. In fact, sometimes I take my own self as an example. When I, for some reason, realize that some children are being affected by the activities of galamsey, where they spill a lot of these heavy metals in water bodies. I also have my own fair share of the backlash. But the question is that if you look at it, do we actually care? Do we actually take part in research in terms of people voluntarily coming out to say that, look, this is what I want to do. Can you please use my dead fetus? Can you please use my saliva, which of course I usually spit and throw it away somehow, and that nobody cares as to whether it contains viruses or any form of virus, or any form of disease. Nobody would do that. And that's the reason why, that's the reason why you look at it, and most of our diseases among blacks, if you look at it elsewhere, they will tell you that most of our conditions are what we call malignant disease. It means that we see it late. By the time we realize we are suffering from those conditions, it is already too late for us, to die out of it. All right. Is this an invitation, or are you even open for the foundation to have a conversation with both you and Dr. Akosa? I mean, without going to court, like you mentioned, I don't think it has to get there. It's just a case of communication. Are you open for that? Well, yes, I'm ever ready, and okay, I'm also ready to educate. The masses, in fact, the public, the dangers. We are not stigmatizing. He's not trying to look at people and just, in fact, stigma as somebody as high, as knowledgeable as Professor Kusa will never in any way do anything that will stigmatize some group of people. We rather caution people as to what some of these things can cause. In fact, those of us here, in fact, let me also say one thing right there before we finish. If somebody is diagnosed as hepatitis B virus, that is not the end. But rather, I keep saying that it's the viral load that matters. It's not the fact that you have been diagnosed as hepatitis B virus. But the question is that you always have to go and check whether you have, the volume of the virus in your blood exceeds that volume where your system can control. And so therefore, you always have to be checking. From time to time, take your blood sample, let them have a look at it and see whether the volume is, or the load is normal or abnormal, so that you keep taking your vaccines. Because the disease is such that it doesn't have any cure, no cure for it, except that you only reduce your viral load so that it doesn't go to the level where your liver will be affected to the point of getting liver cancer. That is where the problem is. So it's not, so we shouldn't be afraid of those who have hepatitis B virus, but rather those who are not testing, those who don't know their status. That is where the danger is. If you don't know your status and you have it so much so that you can spread it through your saliva, you can spread it through your tears, you can spread it through your sweat and so on. So that's where the danger is. So by those people around who have the hepatitis B virus foundation, they should rather, stay calm and probably approach Professor Kusa, and then you will be able to tell them exactly where his information or where his source is coming from. Thank you so much. Professor Dr. Paul Osei-Sampeni, thank you so much for those updates and details. Right, so Professor Dr. Osei-Sampeni is a consultant pathologist at CATH, and that's where we're wrapping up on this tussle between the Ghana Hepatitis B Foundation and Professor Bedru Akosa on whether or not eating soupy foods in groups can help spread hepatitis B. But stay with us. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll bring you more details and updates on this flooding at Gomoa.
The road construction currently ongoing between Kaswa and Winneba Junction. They did a diversion on the Ayorkor River, and that has caused a lot of flood yesterday and this morning. the effect is that almost 3 houses has collapsed. We have almost 150 residents that have been displaced, and currently you can see behind me it's unbearable. So we are appealing to the motorists. I mean, those coming from Accra, when you are coming, you approach Ochrekun stretch of the road, kindly adhere to the instructions given to you by the police and NADMO. We don't want any casualty. We don't want anybody to lose his or her life. So kindly, when you are coming from Accra, approaching Ochrekun River, be very careful. Or when you are coming from Wilma to approaching Ochrekun River, you should be very careful. Listen attentively to what the police and the NADMO are giving you, so that we will save lives. Yes, we can. As you can see, the water has overflown, and we are in contact with the engineers so that they can at least open one stretch of the road that has been blocked, so that the water can have its free flow. We are looking at between now and 12 p.m. So definitely from 12 p.m. onwards, the road will be free for the motorists to use. Yes, for now, 3 has been collapsed. Almost 180 to 200 has been submerged, and those residents, we've moved them to the top of the town. That is where the school buildings are, where the church buildings are. So yesterday, we provided them with mattresses and some blankets that we have. We will need national disaster because this is a national disaster, and you cannot tell me 150 houses have been submerged. Even if you multiply even 2 a house, and you are having like 2 occupants, you are talking about 300 residents being misplaced. So we are appealing to the national headquarters, that is NADMO, the road safety, everybody who is involved to come and help. Especially the residents of Mampong, Ochrekun, and Mpota. Thank you.
Welcome aboard another scintillating AM exclusive segment with me, Benjamin Akakbo, and today we're delving deeper into the political terrain. The man I'm about to have an interaction with is a former chairman of the New Patriotic Party, specifically between 2005 and 2010, and then later in 2016 he was actually the campaign manager for the NPP as far as the presidential and parliamentary elections were concerned. They were successful. Today, he is chairperson of the Ghana Cocoa Board. I'm talking about none other, you might have guessed already, than Peter Mac Manu. He joins the conversation. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that you've ushered us in, I'd just like to find out from you to kickstart matters. When you look at Ghana today under the NPP, another electoral year, what do you see?
Well, it is good that we have a democracy that has been working for us continuously since 1992. We have made several attempts in previous times at democracy and has been truncated one way or the other. So for me, the current 1992 constitution and the multi-party democracy that has followed has done good to Ghana in the form of our way of life, our thinking, our vision, and the way we relate democratically, internally and externally, guided by rules and regulations. That is how a civil society should behave, and we are doing just that. So I'm proud to be a Ghanaian at this point in time.
Since you mentioned the Constitution as well, I mean, we'll delve swiftly into the political issues, but some have said that, look, the 1992 Constitution is beginning to lose its relevance. Others say it is one of the best constitutions in the world. Where do you stand on it vis-a-vis the 2010 Constitutional Review Commission, and how much better we could make our country?
If you ask me about the Constitution, I can tell you that since 1992, there has been several amendments. But the critical areas of amendment that may need the collective will of Ghanaians by way of a referendum has not been achieved, because that is very difficult and it entails a lot. We managed to scrap through with the regional addition of regional
6 regions,
regional administrations onto the landscape. But those that are parliamentary related, because some of them Parliament can just enact laws to change them. We have gone through many of such. The Constitution has served us rightly, yes, because like I started the conversation with, for the last 30 years or over, we haven't had any troubles with constitutional coup. The Constitution is suspended, Parliament is dissolved, political parties are banned. We haven't had that. And it is because we are relying on a Constitution. And mind you, when we say Constitution, people may always think about the executive. The judiciary is doing its bit, Parliament is doing its bit, and the executive. So in its totality, the Constitution, checks and balances here and there, has saved this country.
I see.
Yeah.
I may come back to other issues, but for now, let's focus on the Electoral Union and the Electoral Commission. There has been a lot that has been said, and even going back to the last election, there's been a lot of talk about the EC's performance up to this point. If you look at the latest activities of the EC, the district level elections, then the limited voter registration exercise, or even the registration exercise before the district level elections, for those who are going to partake in them, the district level elections, then the limited registration exercise, and now the voter transfer exercise. How do you feel the EC, the Electoral Commission, has fared?
If you have lived and voted in this country, or if you have taken part in the entire electoral process since 1992, you would agree with me that the current EC is doing well.
How so?
I have been in this country when the use of the word "tot" came into being, because at the district assembly elections, we couldn't do it simultaneously on one day. I voted then at Sekendi. I was driving to Sekendi to go and vote. Before I go to Kaswa, an announcement came that the Sekendi elections have been postponed. We have done something and the name "tot" came into being.
This is a long time ago.
What is a long time ago?
There was a point where
but I started from,
using opaque electoral boxes.
That's why I'm saying from 1992 to date, we've gone far. We've gone very far, and I have, like you mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, I have gone to many countries. I look at their system. Even last week, these Kenyans who came here, one of them is their PR for the IEBC. He came to our conference room, and I showed him a copy of our CI 127. She looked at it and said, Chairman, you have elaborate laws. That's the word, the sentence she said to me. So, well, like we said, in our own houses, we don't accept the good things. But people from outside, they really value Ghana's.
Yeah, leading to the fact that the prophet is never
accepted
in his own home.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the bit about Oliver Twist, where there are democracies, people will always ask for more. In the United States, Trump has been tried, convicted for the first time for an American president. Some would say, I mean, this is what democracy brings. But some of the things you have mentioned, Ghana is known for having the best of laws, but when it comes to the practice, that is where it becomes a bit of a thorny issue. You say this EC is the best, we've ever had? Is that what you said? Just
what I am saying is that their performance now, because the last polls on their performance I came across was from CDD. I think that was in 2020 or 2016, one of them. And the respondents scored them, I think, 65%. Yes, check from CDD records. It was the highest for any EC in this country.
I know there have been a number of surveys.
Wait, let me finish. And if you go beyond Ghana,
right,
the international observers that came to this country to observe our elections, the EU, IRI, International Republican Institute, National Democratic Institute, ECOWAS Group, African Union Group, go and look at the scores that they gave to our elections. I have copies here. So if you want to talk about EC and elections, you may go the extra mile to read about what the observers also said about them. You must, both domestic and international observers.
I mean, there are those who will tell you that for these observers, when it comes to these elections, they are pretty cautious with their assessments. And yes, they look at the barest minimums of free, fair, transparent elections. But let me pin you down to this. On what basis? Because I can look at a plethora of gaffes from this Electoral Commission. And it's not to say that any system is perfect or any team is perfect. I'll take you back to election 2020. Our election results were altered about 3 or 4 times. In the recent limited voter registration exercise, there were so many errors, numbers that did not add up, names on cards that did not add up. Things that, since you are touting this Electoral Commission, and it's not to denigrate or take away from them, but things that we didn't necessarily see under, for example, a Dr. Afari-Jan. So I am trying to pin you down on what makes you think this current, what it is that they've done that no other Electoral Commission has done before.
You are a media person, and for even the current Electoral Commission to bring what they call let the citizens know. Let the citizens know. They want the Ghanaians to know and ask questions. That is even one of their strongest points. And any mistake that they have made the strongest attempt to correct it. They have not allowed the mistakes to lie fallow. No, not at all. So if, and I have a book here about the recordings of the 2012 Supreme Court processes and procedures for the election petition. There were so many gaps in the what they call errors in transforming the result from one center to the other. It happens in many elections. But when you see it, you have to correct it, and that's what they did. What word do they use? To transfer it from one subsector to another, let's say from polling station to constituency or constituency to region or region to national, there are bound to be some errors. And when it is seen, it has to be corrected. It's error.
Someone would ask why those errors came to bear in the first place.
So human beings don't make errors.
I get that. I prefaced and premised my point on the fact that no institution is perfect and that human beings make errors, which then begs the question about how Dr. Afari-Jan, for example, for certain reasons, I don't even want to bring in Charlotte to say, why Dr. Afari-Jan was able to execute, and you worked with him.
You want to tell me Afari-Jan didn't make errors?
I'm not saying he didn't make errors. I am not saying he did not make errors. But with what technologies we have now, vis-a-vis what we had then, and what we were able to do, would you say that, honestly, comparing, we are faring so much better now?
It is not for me to say, but I'm saying the bulk of Ghanaians, when they were asked by a reputable organization, responded 65% that they have confidence in the work the EC is doing. It's not for me.
Let me just reference something from the Afro Barometer. I just had to quickly get the report dated the 7th of March 2024. It shows clearly that Ghanaians want fair and competitive elections, but mistrust the Electoral Commission. I'm reading from the CDD Ghana Afro Barometer report, dispatch number 781, dated the 7th of March 2024. And if I may just highlight a few key points. An overwhelming majority, 84% of Ghanaians, support elections as the best way of choosing our leaders. About 3 in 5 citizens, that is 62%, say elections work well to ensure that members of parliament reflect the views of the people. More than 7 in 10 Ghanaians, that is 72%, say many political parties are needed to give voters real choice, and 89% reject the principle of one-party rule. But here's where it starts getting interesting. A majority, 64% of citizens, say the 2020 election was generally free and fair. I believe that was what you were referencing. 64%. A decline compared to assessments of the 2016 election recorded in 2017.
That was 70-something.
That was 87%.
Okay.
This is a drop of about 23 percentage points in terms of Ghanaians feeling the election delivered was free and fair, 2016 to 2020. It goes on to say, more than 4 in 5 respondents, that is 83%, said they had little or no fear of being a victim of political intimidation or violence during the 2020 election. How much of that has changed, we'll have to find out. But this is the final point. Only 1/3 of Ghanaians, 33%, say they trust the Electoral Commission of Ghana somewhat or a lot. The lowest trust level recorded in more than 2 decades of Afro Barometer surveys. Since you referenced them, I have to go here. What is your answer to that?
Let me tell you, and many political parties have been saying this, we have been in opposition before, and we have won elections from opposition when we did not appoint the Electoral Commission. So our confidence is in ourselves. As a political party, our organization and management of the party and the campaign. So if anybody says the Electoral Commission is doing this for NPP, I've heard that many times, even today on your network.
Right.
I laugh because we've won 2 major elections under Afrejan. We did not appoint Afrejan. We did not appoint Charlotte Osei. But we won, and we won massively because we believe that as a party, we must strengthen our base, we must do this, we must not rely on EC for anything but the declaration of the results. So if parties think erroneously that somebody can sit in Accra Electoral Commission head office and make them winners of election in Ghana here, they are jokers.
You seem to be reflecting or echoing the words, exact words of Dr. Bosman Asare, a deputy.
Well, I haven't heard him, but I'm saying from my own experience that, look, when I started with the PVT, the parallel vote tabulation, that we are going to tabulate our own results, people didn't believe me, and they were questioning me from all sorts. But ultimately, when we generated our own PVT results, and we knew that we have won even without certain polling stations being declared, we were right on. Because
are you suggesting that elections can't be stolen? And I say this with all decorousness or decorum. I have even spoken to a founding member of your party. I'm referencing Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo, who has said that the only way you win the election is by a stolen verdict in 2024. I'm quoting him. And again, both the NDC and the NPP have been said to have engaged themselves in political machinations at some point to skew votes in their favor. Why would you have to do that if you completely trusted in the people who are voting
let me
and
correct
in
you.
the electoral
Let
commission?
me correct
Why
you.
would you do that?
Never go and say this anywhere that we
word.
skewed or we stole elections. No.
You never have?
We never have.
I see.
Because you see, the guiding principles of global electoral management bodies is one of independence. I'm talking about guiding principles of electoral management bodies. Independence, impartiality, integrity, transparency, show of professionalism. And that's where the arithmetic comes in, that they messed up. If you showed a professionalism, those things should not come. But as human beings, we're bound to have errors. And then service-mindedness. I think that so far, the Electoral Commission of Ghana has lived up to these principles, generally speaking. Okay. And if I compare it to other, a couple of weeks ago, I was invited to Ethiopia. And the electoral assessment I made, well, I'm not supposed to come and speak on things that I have observed in other jurisdictions. The law forbids me to do that. But take it from me that Ghana's Electoral Commission is doing very well and is modernized, is cost conscious, okay, and is friendly to its major stakeholders. These IPAC meetings we conduct here, not many countries have it. Some made attempts, but they couldn't succeed. But they have been managed to...
IPAC has a long history and we've been able to make it work.
To hold on to it up till now.
Right.
So we must pride ourselves that we have an electoral management body. Like I said, I have lived under opposition before. And you are touting A, B, C, D as this and that. It's a commission and it's an organization. It's an institution. So if the institution has graduated from 1992 up to this level, that's what we should expect. We shouldn't be expecting them to be going down the drain as a human institution. No, that should not be it. Then Ghana, we are losing it out.
And that is exactly the concern, because some people feel we shouldn't be retrogressing at this point. We should be.
Where is the retrogression?
But let me just ask you this: you have hinted that elections can't be bought, elections can't be tampered with in Ghana. Right. That's an interesting point to make.
If the political party is worth its salt, and the good management practices, and the good organization.
Like the NPP?
Yes, and with good structures.
Right. Why, though, do we see so much money in our politics? I don't. Just hold for me. Just hold for me. Just hold for me. How much will it cost to become president in Ghana? Some estimate as much as $100 million to become an MP. But we also have something very recent, which, though it hasn't been cut incisively into, I'm talking about the Ejiso by-election and Professor Kingsley Nyako supposedly giving out lunch. Some of those things, people have said, why would there be need for that if the systems were working? What do you think? Money in our politics?
For me, I have asked various electoral commissions, from Dr. Afrejan to Mrs. Mensah, why they have not been so much interested in political party financing. Because they are in charge of political party accounts. Because every year, every election, we are supposed to send statement of our accounts to them. But I think they must give suggestions to Parliament for certain laws to be amended or reforms. For me, if you ask me, I would say we should go the South African way,
which is
proportional representation. So one, proportional representation eliminates internal party primaries. Okay? Because the party sends the list.
There's a configuration ab initio
of the list.
Right.
And I don't think prospective people who are on the list paid monies to the party headquarters before their names appeared on the list. I don't think so. But human beings as we are, remember, when President Obama won the US presidency and elevated himself from Senate seat to the presidency under the US laws, the party has the right to fill that vacancy until the next election. And the governor of the state took money from somebody and filled
that person.
Which ultimately led him to jail. So if anything comes up, we have various arms of government that has to deal with them. I'm not saying as a party we cannot be found guilty. No, if we have done anything untoward, the PNDC law 284 on political parties do justice to bribery and cheating in elections.
So the NPP is fallible. That's what you're saying.
Oh, you can't do that.
No, I'm saying you're fallible. You are saying you are imperfect, which means you are not perfect. That's all I'm saying.
You have to be in a court of law. You don't. The Chicago thing I'm telling you, or even as recent as January, a Nigerian governor from Ogun State who murmured money to some voters and was caught, and he's being tried. I mean, you have to go through the entire system of justice. You don't sit comfortably in your arm here and tell somebody he's fallible. No, that's not.
Well, I'm not mentioning any individual. I'm saying
the
party.
NPP. Yes.
I'm saying the party.
You are mentioning NPP.
You are saying that the party then is also susceptible to mistakes. That's what I'm trying to say. When I say fallible, I don't know how you are
I'm saying,
grasping it.
I'm saying that
this is what I mean.
That there are laws in this country, and I've quoted PNDC law 284, Political Parties Act, various sections that deal with bribery, cheating, and corruption in elections. So there are laws that can be enforced.
Okay.
And as we speak, some of them are being enforced by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. If you recall, a would-be district chief executive paid some monies to some assemblymen for his endorsement, and he lost. And then he went.
Are you referencing the one who actually came out and said people should pay his money back? Is that the one you are referencing? Because there was the one who also came and said, "I paid people."
The
this
matter
much.
is in
that one is in the hands of the special prosecutor. Right.
So you know.
But let's talk about some other problems. Minors getting registered. I don't know whether you feel the challenge system is working. Busing people to different centers. Today, we hear a lot of news about this party, that party, busing people, and the lacuna in our constitutional instruments when it comes to saying. And then there's the thorny issue of violence, which is, I wouldn't say it is creeping, it has been with us for a while. What do you make of these and how we are dealing with them?
Thank you very much. I think that the minors can be cured with the use of Ghana card, because certainly on Ghana card everybody has his clear date of birth on it.
Not everybody who can vote has the Ghana card. Some people will be disenfranchised.
I'm surprised when I hear these things, because the numbers that come from the body entrusted to issue Ghana cards does not agree to what you are saying.
There are at least 3+ million Ghanaians who qualify for Ghana cards who don't have them as we speak. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware. What I'm aware is that people are saying 60% of the current registration went through with the guarantor system. So if we had used only Ghana card, they would have been disenfranchised. But I beg to differ. I beg to differ, because people know they are not of that age, and that if they show their Ghana card, they will be caught. So they go through another system which has been provided by the CI. That is guaranteed, and nobody is able to detect your age.
But agents, representatives of the NPP are also guaranteeing, and of course one person can guarantee for up to 10 people if you are caught, however, and that is if. Your people are guaranteeing. Some of them are being challenged for these. How do you react to that?
I'm not speaking on this matter. I'm speaking clearly about sanity in our voter registration system. So whether it's NPP or NDC, we have to get it right.
The solution is the Ghana card.
Yes, and stop this violence. He's not of age, and then they push him, and then ultimately violence erupts. That's not neat. It's not neat.
Speaking of these, then, CI91.
You know why South Africa, you don't hear these things there? Because during the apartheid there, all blacks were forced to have identity cards that bear their date of birth.
Right.
So nobody quarrels on, I'm going to register and no.
Right.
No.
I guess slowly we are getting there. I know that proposals are in place moving forward for the Ghana card, among others, to be. But if we had a system that were working, I don't see how a non-Ghanaian would procure a passport and be able to secure a Ghana card without being Ghanaian. But that's a conversation for another day. CI91 and CI127. Are they fit for purpose on the back of some of the challenges we are seeing currently? Take the limited voter registration exercise and developments. Take the current voter transfer exercise and matters arising.
I am happy you asked this question.
Is it fit for purpose?
Before I answer you, I would have wished that you took your time to find out what CI existed before 127. Which is the current one. That is the one that existed.
94. Okay.
And you will see certain reforms or amendments that has been done and brought this into being. Right. So you would have found that on voter transfer, certain changes have been made to the law in the 94. So it means this is fit for purpose, or at least some form of changes or amendments have been done to the existing one to make this more productive and fit for purpose.
Are the changes sufficient in the light of the challenges we are facing
of a human
now
being? Nothing becomes sufficient in life. But as you move on, you realize the mistakes and errors and correct them by way of amendment. And I'm saying that the previous or the existing one for 2016, which I have here, CI 94,
right.
And when it was reformed, it turned out to CI 127. There are changes in transfer. So maybe when you have time, try and look at the two and see that.
What would you say is the fundamental appreciation when it comes to CI 127?
Well, to begin with,
the transfer.
To begin with, and as I started the discussion with, I have voted, I have registered, I have transferred my votes, etc. There has never been any time that there have been agents, party agents at transfer stations. No.
Is that not an exigency of the times because of how crucial the election is?
So, because we also saw that exigency, then IPAC decided that, well, let the agents go. But if the agents go and they start to create confusion and violence, and we say that coming events cast their shadows, you people sit down and tell NPP you
When you say you people, whom are you referring to?
I'm referring to you people. They know themselves.
People?
I don't know.
Are you referring to the media?
I'm saying you people.
Just clarify, are you referring to the media?
They say that you murdered 20 people during the 2020 elections.
I don't know who has
and
said
you
20.
laugh at it.
I don't know who has said
so
20.
EC should sit down and allow people to be murdered before you come and tell them, come in events cast their shadow, so hey, no more agents. Go and sit at your homes and observe. In any case, at the end of every transfer, you are giving, if you apply, and that's what the CI says, if you apply you are giving a copy of the list of transfers.
And that's why some people say it is too late, because sometimes by the time you get some of these copies, there may even be remedial measures. But guess what? On election day, you see the very list that you checkmated. How do you deal with that?
The electoral process isn't done with transfers, because there's another layer of activity, which is exhibition. And under exhibition, you can object to the inclusion of certain names on the register.
Right.
So if you are giving the names and you know that Kingsley doesn't live here, but he has transferred his vote to this place, or he hasn't lived here for 1 year, when it's exhibition time, you object to the inclusion of Kingsley's name on the register. It's as simple as that.
I see. Yeah. How do you explain, though? Because I have interacted with not just members of the NDC, but from other parties in the IPAC, and you are very conversant with happenings there. And they found it rather curious that, like you say, nowhere does it talk about agents being present, but the exigencies of the time have allowed it. Nowhere does it also say that agents cannot be there. There's a lacuna as far as that is concerned.
Don't go there.
Fine.
I am
going there.
Where the document wants agents to be there, it is clearly stated, like voter registration.
Right. Even if you want to.
So if they haven't stated it, so why do you want to bring them?
If it is not stated, it doesn't necessarily mean it cannot apply, does it? There's no specification.
There's no specification.
Exactly. So it could cut across both ways. But in this instance,
it can't cut across both ways.
The Electoral Commission, deliberating with IPAC, decided you had a consensus that you were going to allow agents. The question then is, how come a few days, in fact, when Monday was going to be a crucial day,
signals that
over
were coming,
weekend,
the signals that
which
were
signals?
Coming, that's why I'm saying that coming events cast their shadows.
Which signals?
You didn't hear about Howard
Kunson's son of Ayorkor.
You didn't hear about that?
Right. How many such incidents? And you see, you categorically referenced agents.
Even if it's one incident,
I get you.
We should not allow these things. We don't know where it will lead to ultimately.
I agree with you, but in making decisions on these, you must look at the scale of what is happening. You have over 260 of these district centers where registrations are happening. You have about, just if I may land, you have about 3 of them where these happenings took place. And you are arriving at a decision based on 3 out of over 260. And in these instances you are even referencing, it is not agents. It is not the agents of Ayorkor who actually engaged in this brawl. In fact, the parliamentary candidate for the NDC, Phyllis, who was involved, has been picked up, supposedly involved, has been picked up. So how does this impact the agents? What did the agents do?
I am saying that coming events cast their shadows, and the EC would not like to sit and people to blame them for using the word on them, murderers, using the word killers on them. They will not, because since 1992, there have been series of transfers of votes, no agents. So it's historical. No agent has ever, because if you go back to the various CIs, no room is made for agents on transfers.
I see.
No room at all. Okay, you can ask anybody.
Right.
So this is the first time, and if it's being abused, should they wait for the, in quotes, ABC to happen before they are blamed? No. Let sleeping dogs lie. We want a peaceful country. We want, and you see, some political parties, NDC, they are being confrontational. What would that lead us to?
I was about to get to
what would that lead us to?
The NDC is insisting. But I also find it interesting. I find it interesting that you know, everything that the EC says, the NPP practically laps it up. We also had an interaction with Remy Edmondson, National Secretary of the PPP, who says, no, what the EC told us and what we had agreed upon and what the EC is now doing are diametrically opposed. The EC is not being candid in this matter. But I find it interesting that the NPP is always supportive of the EC.
It is absolutely untrue that NPP is supporting the EC. The NPP is building its own election trust, election management, and trust in itself. We are not going to rely on Mrs. Mensah to give us results like some people did in 2016. No.
Is that a subtle jab at the NDC?
I have to jab. I have to jab because that's the reality. That is the reality.
That's a subtle jab at the NDC. Anyway,
you put your. We are building ourselves, our campaign, our party, our organization, and that is what wins an election.
Which brings me to
putting your trust in an EC who cannot be at. You know, currently we are going into this election with 42,000 polling stations.
Right.
And you think somebody can sit in Accra here and be able to command and control the results of all the 42,000 polling stations? No way. We don't believe in that.
I see. So your agents are not going to be at these centers. Your agents are not going to be there. The NDC
for the transfer.
Yes.
I said that yesterday to your.
Right. No, I'm just trying to reaffirm your position.
No, because the EC at yesterday's yesterday's IPAC gave the direction.
Okay.
That parties.
And as a law-abiding party, you are not going to send your agents.
Of course, we are going to.
Right. Let's delve further into the politics and move away a bit from the EC, but still focus on the elections. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President, flag bearer of the NPP. Some have said that he has conveniently run away from the economy and is now Dr. Digital. The last I heard, he was talking about digital jobs that he was going to create for about 1 million youth. We know where the unemployment rate is. I don't want to bore you with the exchange rate, unemployment rate, inflation and all of that, no. But how viable a candidate is he?
He is a very, very strong candidate. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has the vision, the ideas for 2025 onwards to bring Ghana to the next level of our development. So I can assure you that if you say he has run away from economy, digital is part of the economy. If you are creating the number of jobs you are talking about, isn't that part of the economy? And in any case, if you say economy, what do you mean? Because that's a big word. So break it down, because economy, and in these modern economies, you cannot take away digitization from it.
Okay, so let me break it down.
Can run.
Let me break it down to one thing. He famously said his quote about the exchange rate, if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Looking at the exchange rate now, the dollar, the euro hovering around 16, Ghana cedis to these currencies, the pound almost hitting 20, shaving 19 and the rest. Is this administration getting exposed by the foreign exchange market?
It could be worse, but for this administration.
It could have been worse?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I can tell you that. And this administration has put in place so many mechanisms to slow the pace of the exchange rate depreciation, especially the cedi depreciation. I can tell you why. I'm saying this because it is not only in this country that we are feeling the impact of depreciation of our currency.
Yeah, but we're feeling it much more than other countries in the neighborhood.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Let me tell you.
It is not?
If you are not aware.
Actually, I travel quite a bit, so I am aware. When you go to
you
Togo,
that
when you go to Cote d'Ivoire.
If you go to Togo and Cote d'Ivoire, the countries you are mentioning,
right.
I have good friends there, especially in Ivory Coast.
Even Burkina Faso.
And they tell me, all of them, their currency are tied up to the French francs or the euro.
Actually, some of them have disbanded some of these.
And if they haven't, that is also one of the reasons they are trying to get rid themselves from the French economy. A governor of a bank in Ivory Coast or Togo or wherever depends on the French governor.
So that puts them in a better stead than
the currency. They're using their currency. Their currencies. So, but they are telling me that yours is better. That is Ghana. Ours is better because we hold our destiny in our own hands.
I see.
And that they cannot see how France is dictating to them how taxes are sent to them in France, etc. So if you take these countries you are mentioning, what about the other countries? Go to Nigeria, go to Kenya, go to South Africa, go to Mozambique and check their exchange rates if there has been any improvement compared to the Ghana cedi.
I was in Lagos late last year and I can say that at least as of that time, if I compared the cost of living, it was better.
Are you talking about cost of living now? Now you have shift post to cost of living from exchange rate. Thank you. I can assure you that cost of living. But I bring people from, recently I also brought some Nigerians to your station to come and speak.
And they also told you that
well, it's not me, they spoke on your network.
I see. Because even in terms of tourism, I don't know whether you've followed, but people have been interviewed, including Nigerians, in terms of the cost of living in Ghana, being a tourist in Ghana. And trust you me, what they are saying is that Ghana is very expensive. In most of the categories, less than about 15% were saying Ghana. 15% we're saying Ghana was good in terms of cost of living. 60+% in different categories. We're saying Ghana was expensive.
You have shifted the post.
No, I'm talking of cost of living.
Cost of living.
Yes.
But a country cannot get it all right. But recently, on governance, Ghana was way ahead. Ghana was number 5. Governance that you are claiming NPP has spoiled this country. We're number 5 in terms of governance. How about that? And that is reflected also in the performance of the Electoral Commission.
It's interesting because that same bit talks about rule of law and a number of things. And some people were looking at them wondering, okay, is it Ghana they are talking about or some other country?
We said Ghana. Where's my phone?
No, I'm not disputing that it was Ghana, but some people looked at the metrics and wondered whether they were.
Oh, but you said it that a prophet is not
I see.
accepted in his own.
Right. But these are
the good things that we have. We think we have nothing, but go out there and you see. Obana.
I like that. Let's talk about a running mate, and that was the very next thing I was going to bring you to. We're in June, the month of June has started. We're about 6-7 months to the elections. Are we getting a running mate for the NPP anytime soon?
Oh, certainly, NPP will not go into 2024 elections without a running mate. We will go with a running mate. We'll
Don't you think the party is lagging
behind?
behind?
Himself was chosen in August.
I do recall. It doesn't mean you have to wait until August. You're trying to break the 8. It's a tough election. You've admitted that.
Yes.
You are facing an economic crisis. Do you have to wait? You should start marketing your running mate by now.
Take it easy.
I see.
NPP, we are good at these things. So I'm not scared at all. I'm not scared. And that's ultimately the name that will be brought to the National Council, which I believe will ultimately be accepted by National Council, will throw more weight into the NPP's campaign.
Is Bawumia choosing his own man or woman?
He is the presidential candidate of the party, and under the NPP constitution, he has to make the choice and bring to National Council.
I did not reference what was in your party constitution. Is he going to
but
choose
who is the
his
who
or her
is
own
the
candidate?
presidential candidate? That's why I want. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is currently our presidential candidate and leader of the great New Patriotic Party.
So Dr. Bawumia will handpick this person?
Very well.
I see.
Very well. Of course, he has the right to make, and it's the good thing, to make consultations. Yeah, to make consultations. That's the good thing, so that ultimately, when the name lands, bam, on the table of National Council, there won't be any hiccups.
In the next 2 minutes or so, I just have two quick questions for you. Recently, I had an interaction with Dr. Arthur Kennedy, Governor Arthur Kennedy, you know him, and he alluded to the fact that it was a big mistake of your parties to let Alan Chamatin go, and that after his withdrawal from the race, you should have brought him into the fold, and that the best situation would have been to have Alan together with Dr. Bawumia or some sort of setup moving into election 2024. Now with his ARC and everything else happening, it appears he's going to claw away votes. That is what Dr. Arthur Kennedy thinks. Do you agree with him or not?
Wishes are not horses. That's his wish. And I think that is up to him. But in this country, I was listening to one of the networks. I don't know whether it was you or somebody was saying NPP, now their big men have left the party. Hey, all the big men have left the party. So we are going to lose the election. A whole founder of a political party, Mrs. Kwedu Ajima, he left the party. Obeda Samoa, the longest serving attorney general, he left the party. You don't mention those.
Obeda Samoa came back, didn't he?
Hey, hasn't he left the party at that time?
Did he not
during
come back?
The election?
Alan Chamatin left the party and came back, and
so,
he's left again.
So leave it hanging. If you admit that people could leave and come, then let it hang.
My final bit to you is the NPP winning election 2024. Are you going to break the 8? How will you do it?
Oh, election is a process, and as we have discussed so far, we are doing pretty well. I also have my own polls.
What did they say?
My polls?
Yeah, the last time I interacted with the chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esidu Nketia, he said as of, this was what, a week and a half or so ago, that as of that day, it was a Thursday, if Ghanaians went to the polls, the NDC would get nothing less than 52%. What is your poll?
I can assure you that the NDC has deployed all its arsenal. We are still in the process.
Of deploying your arsenal? Of deploying your arsenal?
Yes.
I see.
So every now and then, more people come on board. Okay. Since Dr. Bawumia started his tour into the regions, the amount of interest that it has generated, and I can imagine when the vice president is also named, but we haven't named now. That's why I say they have deployed all the arsenals, and they elected John Mahama how many years ago? So they have reached their apogee. So now they are sliding down. But for us and for me in elections, you pick till the D-Day. If you go up or you start backsliding, coming down, then it means it's no good for you.
So is that the NPP? Is that your strategy? Is that your strategy?
Of course, and that's the right strategy for elections. That is the right. You pick and pick to the D-Day.
So it's not because you're afraid that whomever you pick would be lampooned by
no. But I'm saying, if I say Nketia is now saying 52%, then it means they have started coming down, because they have said 60% before. And they came to 56.
Peter McManu, what is your poll? What is your poll revealing?
We don't disclose our polls to the public, no.
I see.
At the right time. But in 2016,
whenever the NPP has been has had in 2016, you have been able to put it out. You have said that we are winning with these margins and all of that. Why are you not saying it now?
I did polls. Did you hear from it? I did 3 polls in 2016. In 2020, I did polls. Did you hear from it?
I see.
We use it to, as it were, guide our campaign.
I see.
So places that we are weak, things that we need to do, assurances that we need to do, reconciliation efforts that need to be beefed up, etc. So if I see Edinketia is saying 52% now, then they are getting down, they are going down. I'm telling you.
Peter Mac Manu, it's been interesting
having a conversation. I want us to continue.
Next time we meet, we're going to delve into COCOBOD and other related matters. But thank you so much for engaging us this afternoon. And that has been our conversation on AM Exclusive with Peter Mac Manu. He's been a chairman of the New Patriotic Party, 2005 to 2010. In 2016, he was campaign manager for the presidential and parliamentary elections of the NPP. He currently is board chair of COCOBOD. And hopefully we'll have another opportunity, another slice of the cake with him to delve into cocoa-related matters. My name is Benjamin Akapo. Thank you for watching.
That was an intriguing conversation. I mean, trust us here on the AM show to bring you intriguing conversations like that from the newsmakers and people at the helm of affairs. But away from that, let's move to Shirley Ayorkor, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and her bid to be Commonwealth General Secretary. Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Shirley Ayorkor, has been actively campaigning for the prestigious position of Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Her campaign is marked by a blend of strategic diplomacy, advocacy for reforms, and a vision for a more cohesive Commonwealth, which has also garnered significant attention and support. Our Joy News editor and head of security desk, Emefa Pau, is with her team, and we're connecting with her live right now from Malaysia. Emefa, it's good to have you on the program. Now, I know the minister has been to the Pacific regions and the Caribbean, so let's talk about her Asian tour.
Thank you very much, Sweetie, and it's good to see you. Greetings from Malaysia. I bring you at this point. It looks like I'm upside down.
Yeah, is it okay? You're upside down. Okay.
Okay, upside down from Malaysia, I guess.
Yes,
it's better now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's better.
Thank you.
Okay.
My sweetie. So to your question now, you mentioned that, yes, she's been to the Pacific, rightly so. She's been to the Caribbean and is the Asian leg as well as we speak. And in Asia, we also know that she's been to India already and Bangladesh. I'm joining this team on the next leg of the Asian tour. And from Malaysia, she'll be heading to Brunei and then also to meet the Sultan of Brunei, and then also off to Singapore on this particular leg of the tour. So it's been campaigning for this particular bid. And there are a number of countries that have already openly declared their support for her. We can talk about Kenya, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua, and then Grenada. And then, of course, because it's a Commonwealth position, it definitely has to do with campaigning from all Commonwealth countries. And from what I understand, she's been to almost all the Commonwealth countries in her bid. And it's not like it's just a separated tour. Of course, during their work also, they get to use the opportunity to campaign. And it's been a number of campaigns from one country to the other. And we are on this particular one, checking what she's been up to and what she's done so far. I can say that as we speak, we've just returned from a meeting with a foreign affairs counterpart in Malaysia. And it's been a wonderful talk. Most of the meeting was behind closed doors. But of course, from what we got to see and interact with, it looks like we can safely say that maybe Malaysia is also falling for her Commonwealth Secretary General bid.
Well, it's good to know that some countries have already declared their support for her. But what has she been saying? What are the key pillars of her campaign?
Well, interesting pillars. I see that it's about 6 thematic areas from what I've seen from her campaigning and her interaction with a few, ministers and head of states as well. She's looking generally at democracy, good governance, and she's also looking at trade and investment. She's looking at the youth, especially, which she tells me is key for this particular agenda. Their education, their skills, their innovation, and startups is what she's looking at when it comes to the area of youth. And then the issue about mobility and labor markets, she's looking at also the issue about climate change, which is very key when it comes to a lot of these Commonwealth countries, especially the island states. She's also looking at the small island states and the small states particularly. She's also taking a look at managing resources for an effective Commonwealth institution amongst trade and investment also, which is key when it comes to Commonwealth countries, especially in Africa, areas in Pacific and the Caribbean. So these are the key pillars on which she's situating her campaign message everywhere she goes. From what I know so far, that is what the main bid has been. We know that she's been to Swatini, she's been to a number of African countries. And I must say, that most of her contenders, which I know that the other two contenders, which are also from Lesotho and in Gambia, they are also from Africa. So it looks like it's an Africa thing for the Commonwealth Secretary General. But I can tell you, sweetie, that from all the people that we've engaged with so far, it gives you a clear indication that it appears that mostly it's for Shirley Ayorkor Botchwey. But one interesting thing is that she doesn't look like she's being complacent at all, even though most of the places she's been to and the open declaration for her support, to support her bid, she's still working very hard on this. And it's something that you can see that she's taking very, very seriously.
Well, MFA, before I leave you, when should we expect the results to be declared or the election? When will we crown all of this campaigning activities?
By the close of year, that is when we get to know. As we speak, there's a first female who is occupying that position. And then at the end of campaigning, this year is a lot of elections for this year. From what I'm checking, a lot of countries are having their elections this year. And that's when the Commonwealth term, which is the 4-year, 8-year term, is supposed to be 4 years, which is renewable. And that's when they get to elect. So they get to wrap up everything probably before our general elections, and then she will get to know what exactly her position will be when it comes to the Commonwealth. But as we speak, it looks like all is set for that bid for her to be able to take over the Secretary General position of the Commonwealth.
All right, MFI, and when are you coming back, and what are you bringing us back from Malaysia?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that I don't want to come back just yet, but of course, there's work to do. There's work to do, and I'll definitely be back shortly. But we have to go to Brunei, and definitely I'll send you a lot of pictures, and I'll bring you something for the Sultan of Brunei.
Yes,
you want a genie, or what you want, a lamp or something?
I am Oliver Twist, MFI. I want all of those and more. Thank you so much, MFI Pau.
Greetings to the entire team. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for bringing us those details and updates on the Foreign Affairs Minister's bid to be Secretary General of the Commonwealth. But still to come, we are going to delve into this flooding issue at Gomoa, and about 150 to 200 houses have been submerged. We saw the videos about the road. The road has been split into two. The bridge has caved in. We'll bring you details in a bit. Stick and stay. Now, before we get to that conversation, yesterday I was in town for Citizens Microphone to understand how much more people are spending to get basic commodities. Here's Citizens Microphone for you this morning. Have you wondered why the same amount of money that could get you a number of goods and services can no longer get you the same quality or quantity of goods and services? It's because there's a general hike in prices. Now, here we are this morning at Nima Market, and upon entry, we spent some time speaking to the traders. Most of them do not even want to speak to us because they say that they're tired of complaining and nothing is being done about it. But a few of them have agreed to speak to us, and we want them to help us really gain clarity on how bad the situation is. I also have with me about 200 Ghana cedis. I'll try and see how much goods and services I can get here with 200 Ghana cedis. So indulge me. Good morning. Thank you for agreeing to speak with us. So take me around your market, your shop, and show me how the differences in prices is affecting your trade. For example, this sachet of oil, how much was it in about 2 months ago?
It was 20 cedis.
How much are you selling it for now?
23 cedis.
Show me around.
Okay. For instance, the red oil, the Vortic, it was 25 cedis. 20 cedis. It's now 30 cedis. So now things are very expensive.
Do your goods move as fast as they used to?
No, please.
But
first it's 5 cedi. Now it's 12 cedi. Why? Collect and show them.
she said she doesn't want to speak to us directly, but this oil was first 10 cedis and 5 cedis, and now it is 12 Ghana cedis. This small bottle of oil. What else is there to show? Right, the gallon of oil. 400 Ghana cedis. Can you show me what you mean by the gallon? Is it that's yellow one there? Okay, and now it's.
Some people say naira. Some people say sefa.
Well, we have to go to other people to understand the situation on ground. This woman is very passionate. Before the cameras came on, she was actually talking to us about how bad the situation. Now, I've seen this beautiful fish over here, huge. I wonder how much it costs. Good morning, ma. Let me try and squeeze in there so that we can hear you speak.
Pacho, where 18. First year to 70 and 80. Sisi a nyama no boy den dodo. Nyama ni boy den papa. Ma ye nto ade ma ye. Ma nyama nko yi. Krofo ma fisa nyama ni boy den. Krofo ma. Me see we no. We ye 40 Ghana, we ye 50, we ye 40, I ye 20, I ye 5 cedi, I ye 10 cedi. We now you're trying to 5 cedi. See, I done it 20 Ghana.
Well, if you didn't get what she said, this piece of fish here used to be 5 Ghana cedis, and now this same piece of fish, the exact size, is going for 20 Ghana cedis, and the goods are not moving as fast as they used to because people don't even have the money to come to these places to buy for them. But next up, let's look at how some vegetables are doing on the market, starting with onions. Good morning, ma. Eduardo Onye Vava. Lucky, how much were you selling your onions for, and how much is it now? Dobagba. Dobagba, my translates Gano. Me say, first no, not ebia olon kabako, oton the same, and as see a oton the same.
First, a ton of 40 cedis, they say about 78.
First, now olon kabako, adiawe. So an onion, this bowl full of onions was 40 Ghana cedis, and now it's 70 Ghana cedis. Wow. Didn't you know for say abanisa?
Yes, it's safer, Kosu. Safer.
What's your say?
Safer. This is Ghana Kosu. Tinyamani boyedi. Oh, I felt a baby. Because first, Nyamani ya far, but could be a child of 20 cedi, 12 cedi. Say a child 50 cedi, 60 cedi.
Right. So there you have it. Not only are the prices of goods gone up, the cost of transportation. She says at first, once you get your stuff, you could pay just about 12, 15 cedis for transportation, and now you're paying 60, 70 Ghana cedis to transport your goods from wherever you got them to the markets before you can sell, and which is why they're also adding on so that they can make some profit. But follow me, there's still more that thank you so much for speaking with us. There's still more to show you. Let's speak to this tomato seller and understand. I mean, the most common vegetable in every household is tomatoes. And good morning, ma. Yeah, that's the Sony Kasa. Into tomatoes, we are saying. First, maybe 2 months ago, now on the same.
it was 20 Ghana cedis, but now the same bowl is 30 Ghana cedis. But Church, me send ya nyoma ni si koma.
Nyoma ni dia ni baby ani boy de. Into si ni almost we no how amunti ya bo. Nyoma no boy de. Inti yenso akoto na boarding so yenso beto na boarding amam. Sir.
Well, she says that things are expensive. They buy it at expensive prices, and that's why they will sell it at the prices so that they can also make profit. A cost in your first nekwana.
A cost sa na niamanoko. Omunjem. Oh, omu say obi won say obana say 5 cedi ontiminto mana no ajagu say nso no. Nti say onu so omu use sweet tomatoes. Beble ontiminto bio.
So, consumers can no longer buy tomatoes, or they cannot buy enough to suffice in whatever meals they want to cook in their homes, and so they are moving to tin tomatoes because is that a cheaper option, she says. Right, so that is it for tomatoes. Thank you so much for speaking with us. But I heard you people say a certain slogan, or what did you say?
Akpafu make the Ghana make hot. Akpafu do never hear my whole jonami. Well, if you are not a map, will washi 20 Ghana 10 cedi. To the shadow said, Abakufa, Bagavana on the shadow fanami. If you are Akpafu, Panovia, and Baumia, or never hear my son, Sasana Meta, Akpafu, Napanami, Baumia, Napanami, Namia of Free Ghana, and the Shanam Babonami.
Right.
India, the Beman is still anyway, no, on my well and be down. They will say, Akpafu Aduni and Bauni Mianu, and Mamma be down. Now you should to me vote to Momu, to Mamma be down.
Right, so she's saying that Akpafuado is their way of referring to the president of the country. Now I speak away. Akpafu means suffer, right? So they are calling him Akpafuado. I don't know how to explain that, but they're basically saying that everything is gone up. And she was particularly talking about Willie, and she says that they would give the steer to Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, her words, not mine, if they are able to look at the hike in prices so that they can make some profit, because things are so expensive and they can barely make ends meet.
Awashi, eta kwa ya obo buroga asugbo, eta kwa vale kwa jena miya jela cham, eta Akufo-Addo kwa Bawumia, ono kwa agbaji no de buroga ji, kwa duty aji na no le sha afanyi miya de ji na mo April, na akpo da videle ji miya du.
Well, she was just reiterating the point that transportation is also a major contributor to why there's a hike in prices, because, well, when they go to buy goods and services, the cost of transportation is not the same anymore, and for that reason, they have to make profit. It appears the sentiments are common. They're sharing common sentiments. They're saying that transportation, the increase in prices at retail points, and inflation, depreciation of the cedi. Let's talk to this lady here. Good morning, ma. Should I come to you? Okay, let me squeeze in here. Now we'll catch and say, and you memoir ding. Sisi amaba or cow storage me.
Sisi abode no. First anka yon top body and do a draw 2 million. Sisi a top body draw 2 million. Obet your commission 20 Ghana. What the bar sign or betting? Sisi amamuto no be a jan. If it's a boy heading.
Was it 2 million? She says that at first you don't buy plantain for up to 200 cedis, but now that's what you buy. And when you come, how many fingers can you give consumers before you make profit? Shame nia sena wotono na sena na wotono first no wotono. Inti first nanka brother miensa obeton is saying.
First na anka kese na yeti ni miensa 20. Sisa kese na yeti na 940 Ghana.
Cheme.
Memfa ni say when many say no. 5 no 40 Ghana or better and 40 Ghana. Say no benya was in Tommy no more giant. Where say first anchor 20 Ghana.
So at first, like
Debbie, me fan say, I fiafi.
So she's talking about yearly. So sometime last year, this was 40 Ghana. What's he saying? 20 Ghana cedis, but now it's 40 Ghana cedis, which means one is selling for 10 Ghana cedis. And a kokone.
Kokone price back. When me answer 20.
So now you get 3 fingers for 20 Ghana cedis. Emma and microphone to me in Tonyo Manuel.
So Omwejai to. Auntie, so become poor chum, my customer. My chum number so are they? But no, so chakram pens. If you saw so top then a num 40 Ghana or trabaco cramp and with 10 cedis. Into one way, Jai, what crampo 40 Ghana. That's what talk of 540 Ghana. Say no betran no way, into a bedjai.
Right, so of course consumers are unable to purchase as much as they want. But I have my 20 cedis here and I would love to buy some plantain. You know, I love my plantains. Please, Emma, me call 20 cedis. Neto me so why? Into ultimate graph so there.
And so to the only quarter across it to me so. Into back to Sabian to son and any dear.
Right, I was asking her to add some more to it for me. But me 20 cedis in Ayorkor. Well, there you have it here in Nima market. We're having some interference because, yeah, as often happens in markets, we have these preachers going around. But the general mood here, the atmosphere here is that things are hard. Consumers are unable to purchase as much as they used to, and they can only sell at the prices that they can make profit because, I mean, this is their means of livelihood. This is their work. So I think my plantain is ready. And, oh, that's not mine. Boss, come and speak to us, eh?
I don't speak English. Hausa. To Mizan Temata. Eh, I said, Tunde and Zumuma and Munse.
Oh, unfortunately, I don't speak Hausa, so I can't translate. But do you speak Chi? English? French? Let's try French.
Oui. To, à cause de ce que j'ai dit que c'était cher. Nous-mêmes, si on a acheté, je suis en train de couper ça, tout cidi. Les gens sont en train de vabarder comme ça, là. C'est cher, là. C'est pour cela que nous-mêmes, si on est venu acheter là, on voulait trouver facilement.
Okay, I'm going to try and do my little translation here. He's saying that, well, the money that he used to buy a number of plantain, now he cannot buy that much anymore, and it's to his disadvantage because the money cannot buy as much as he can. Benjamin Akakpo helped me with the proper translation of this, but I think we're wrapping up here. Oh, let's look at one last spot before we go. Good morning, aunties. Mababium. Me pesa meto fish. Half near say. 50. Inti first nanka where say 15 cedis. So this piece of fish used to be 15 Ghana cedis and now it's 50 Ghana cedis.
Scan 10 cedi. Enya Ghana say minimum Ghana scan 10 cedi. Say 50 cedi.
Now box no mo kofa mo fa ne say.
First no yeah ni 70 million ton. Say see 1 ton and 7 million, 11 million. Say yeah ni 120 million 1 ton. Are 24.
Wait, so at first a carton of fish was 100 Ghana cedis. Let me understand. 100 million. Is that 100 Ghana cedis or 1,000 Ghana cedis? 1,000 Ghana cedis. You see what I'm saying? Okay. I'm a bit confused. But it appears there's some significant change in the prices. So
I change the cry. I did 20 say they are changing. I change the cry. They say every Uba market ya obeto nam kituwa we 550 Ghana say. Obeto ni say. Say. Ade. Nso first ukita 10 cedi. Obeto we. Enti ya na enye.
Ah, well. Yeah, that's it. But I want to buy the fish. Me pay. Where are you saying? 50 cedis. Anyway, 40. Wow. Okay, mommy, wait. Well, I'm a regular citizen and I want to have some change, so. And she's saying that 10 cedis, oh, give it to me. 10 cedis could have given me the same size of fish. And now this is 50 Ghana cedis. But that's how we're wrapping up here at Nima Markets, bringing you real updates on the hike in prices and how traders, consumers are feeling the pinch. They say inflation, cost of transportation, depreciation of the cedi, and many others is what's amounting to these hikes in prices. For John, I must say that I had a good time there in the markets, but these women were very passionate. Some of them didn't even want to speak to us on camera because they say that they've been speaking up, they've been complaining, they've been lamenting, but nothing seems to be done about it. And every month, almost every month, there's an increase in prices. It tells you that when we talk about inflation, it's not just statistics and figures that we're putting out there. In our pockets, real individuals, real life, things are hard out there. But to what end? Hopefully, there's something. Our leaders come up with some policy framework that arrests this depreciation of cedi, which is ricocheting into the increase in transportation fares, which is causing the increase in everything on the markets these days. But that's it for Citizens Microphone. And coming up next, we're bringing you AM Business. The Ministry of Finance says it is optimistic its measures put in place together with the Bank of Ghana will ensure stability of the Ghana cedi going forward. Deputy Finance Minister Abunose Asari reiterated the commitment of the government in ensuring a robust economy through implementation of critical policies for growth. She was speaking as a $2.1 million grant agreement signing event between the government of Ghana and the government of Japan. Here's a AM Business for you.
The $2.1 million grant agreement is for the project for Human Resource Development Scholarship. The program is being funded by the government of Japan under its Project for Human Resource Development Scholarship, introduced in 2012 through the Japan International Cooperation Agency. Abuna Osei Asari said government is poised to ensure a robust economy.
I want to acknowledge the excellent partnership between Ghana and Japan. And this partnership has resulted in a lot of positive programs, making both economic and social development impacts in our country. This program, we believe, will strengthen and contribute to the public sector's human resource capacity building, resulting in officers acquiring the skills and knowledge well suited for our development aspirations. Let me give a little bit background of our macroeconomic situation currently as we find ourselves. The government of Ghana continues to make strenuous efforts to pursue prudent policies and programs aimed at creating the needed stability for realizing the objectives of Ghana's transformation agenda. Considering the enormity of the havoc wreaked on the global economy by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian war in Ukraine, the government of Ghana has done relatively well in stabilizing the economy. Ongoing program support from the IMF continues to create confidence for a rebound in economic and investor activities. Thus, Ghana's recovery process from the implementation of the IMF-supported program attests that Ghana is achieving macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. The GDP growth rate grew by 2.9% in 2023, surpassing initial projections of 1.5% and a revised one of 2.3%. Growth is expected to continue in an upward trajectory to an average of 5% in the medium term. This growth, we believe, will be supported by industrialization, agric modernization, and SME growth.
She maintained that government is making strenuous efforts to pursue prudent policies and programs aimed at creating the needed stability for realizing the objectives of Ghana's transformation agenda.
The inflation rate decreased to 25% in April 2024 from a significant decrease from 41.2% in April 2023. Our gross international reserves reached $6.2 billion in February 2022, covering 2.7 months of import cover, and we are expected to increase it to 4.4 months of import cover in the medium term. But for recent pressures on our exchange rate movements, the cedi's depreciation halved from 52.2% in November 2022 to 27.8% in December 2023, maintaining stability into 2024. The ministry currently is working with the Bank of Ghana to implement measures to improve the strength of the cedi against its foreign trading currencies in the medium term. I also want to say something about the relationship that we have enjoyed so far, the bilateral economic cooperation that we have enjoyed between Ghana and Japan. It dates way back to 1970s, and we know that so far, cumulatively, we have received support to the tune of about 2.5 billion from the government of Japan in key sectors of our economy.
Senior Vice President for the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Naoki Ando, pledged more support to supporting Ghana's economy.
Stable and democratic state in Sahel and ECOWAS is Ghana, and importance of Ghana cannot be exaggerated. And Ghana is also economic hub, gateway for Japan to West Africa. JDS, Japan Grant Aid for Human Resource Development Scholarship Program, is our core program. And they realize a strong partnership with government of Ghana through human resource development. As State Minister already mentioned, many Ghanaians to Japan since 2012, 117 have already participated in the program, and 90 have already graduated. And I believe that all of 90 working in your government very, very hard. Strategic important area is economics, public administration, public health, international relationship. That is all core sector of your country's development.
He also said the government of Japan will collaborate with the Ghanaian government to address challenges affecting other areas.
And I personally, I was a professor in the university, and I received a lot of graduate students from Ghana. Ghana students were so competitive, and they're very clever and they committed. So I'm believing that this program's graduates is working very good in your government. And I want to mention about the meaning of the program, studying in Japan. You know, the theory, academical theory is very universal. It's no difference. But policy making is a sort of art. So Japanese unique development history, development experiences and systems are really, work in conjunction with other countries' experience. So please take our unique program and get into, incorporate into your policy, and please, good governance is to be continued.
The project is aimed at offering young government officials the opportunity to pursue higher education in Japan to enhance their ability to actively engage in the implementation of social and economic development programs.
Development at Gomoa. thanks for staying with us. Now we have Kofi J on the line with us, bringing us some more details and updates on the flooding situation at Gomoa, Ayorkor. Kofi J, thanks for joining us. Has the situation improved since you last spoke with us this morning?
I can say it has been improved a little because the river still coming from 8 directions. Currently, where the contractor is working, the river has even submerged that place. Even all their equipment has also been submerged because the river has overflowed its boundaries and enters where they are working now. And the road has been blocked because initially they blocked the main bridge and diverted the water to a smaller bridge. And the smaller bridge, because it's small, it cannot contain the volume of the water. So that bridge has also caved in. That leads to the blockage of the road. Currently, Central East Regional Police Command, NPP commander are here to help the NAD route so that they can direct the drivers. According to NADMO and police, they have been able to create another access route for commuters coming from Accra to Cape Coast, while those coming from Cape Coast to Accra. So, but the main road, you cannot use the main road because the road are totally blocked.
Are there any persons who've been injured or sustained any sort of injury so far? Is everyone safe?
Everybody is safe because they saw it coming. According to the residents, they know the nature of this river, so they saw it coming. But currently, 3 buildings have been collapsed and 200 houses have been submerged.
Okay, hold for me. We have Robert Hackman, who is the NADMO coordinator for Gomoa, is joining us on the line, and I want to understand what he has to say about all this. Mr. Robert Hackman, thanks for joining the program. I'm sure you've seen the footages and be following this developing story. How do you react to this at this time?
Okay, so currently I'm at the scene and it's an eyesore. Yes, it's true that 200 houses have been submerged and 3 have been collapsed. And thank God no one has been hurt or no casualty has been recorded so far. I learned we have 3 rivers that is joining this main road. That is Ayorkor River, that is Ayorkor River, and that's of Mampong River. And you know the contractors are putting all these 3 rivers together and they diverted it in one direction. And I think these 3 rivers, what the Nananum and the chief states are saying, they don't like each other or they don't want to have an eye-to-eye with each other. So that has created this mess. Because as you can see, or from the videos that you are watching on either Facebook or whatever, there hasn't been any raining for the past 3 days. There hasn't been any rain for the past 3 days. So,
Mr. Hackman, have you heard anything from this contractor, this Mr. Nad Feman contractor who blocked?
Currently, we are here with engineer, but he has gone to the other side of the road, and he is saying, yes, they have all our documents because of one of these.
I lost you back there for a few seconds. He's saying that what?
He's saying they have to pour libation, and unfortunately they couldn't do that.
Pour libation? Are you saying he says they should pour libation?
Yes, because the rivers is free, and they have to contact each and everyone before the river can give a green light for them to put them together, and they didn't do that.
Mr. Hackman, let's try this again. I keep losing you, and while I repose the question to you, can you try and reposition yourself? Are you saying that these 3 rivers that were merged, they were supposed to pour libation before that was done, and because they didn't pour libation, this is the result we are seeing now?
Exactly.
So what's the way forward?
The way forward is we are here with the Nananum and the chief priest, and currently we are waiting for their direction so that we can go back to the scene and pour libation.
But Mr. Hackman, this is a contractor who built a bridge, blocked the riverway because he wanted to build a more modern bridge. And you're saying that that's not the cause of this flood, but lack of libation? Help me make sense of it.
Yes, for the part of the contractor, he is saying it's the road divert. And you know, African, our tradition belief. The Nananum are also saying it's because the labration wasn't done properly. That is why we are seeing. That is what we are seeing now.
But what I'm saying is that the bridge caved in because it was built on the waterway.
No, the bridge that caved in is an old bridge. The bridges here are two. We have the main Ayorkor bridge and that of the smaller one. So the contractor diverted the main bridge into the smaller bridge.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that pouring libation will help fix all of this that we are seeing right now, and not a strategic approach to?
For the contractor, he is saying it is the volume of the water that has created this, and the chief priest and the nun are also saying they have to pour libation. And let me give you one clear example. At Budubrum, we are blasting some stones over there. We did it 4 times. It didn't happen. The chief priest came, poured libation, and we done 3 times, and it's almost done.
So this is a spiritual matter, you're saying?
Come again?
Are you saying this is a spiritual issue?
This is what the community is saying. This is what the chief priest is saying.
Okay, Mr. Hackman, you are regional, you are what? NADMO coordinator for Gomoa East.
NADMO director.
I'm asking you, what do you make of the situation? Not what the contractor is saying about libation. What do you make of the situation?
Yes, what I have observed so far is one, the diversion of the river is the cost, because the volume of the water that enters the bridge is too heavy, is too much for that smaller bridge, the tiny bridge to contain.
And so how do we make this situation go away? That's my question to you now.
Yes.
Not about pouring libation.
Yes, I have asked the contractor. You know, the hose inside the main bridge is 3. So I have asked the contractor to open 2, so that whilst the tiny one is taking some, then the bigger ones can also take some, so that it can have its free flow.
All right. Now, we know that about 150 to 200 houses have been submerged. Is there any plans to provide any sort of shelter for the people whose homes have been submerged?
Yes. So before we are about that, let me say thank you to the Church of Pentecost for the timely intervention they gave us yesterday. In fact, all those that were affected, we spoke to them, they agreed, and they gave us a big church building, and we sent all those that have been affected to that church building. So as we speak, my office, that is the NADMO Secretariat, are currently on their way coming. I have given them the number of the people affected. I have given them the number of houses that have been affected. So currently, I am waiting for their response. But they've told me they are on their way coming.
All right. Thank you so much, Robert Hackman.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to Kofi AJ, if you're still with us. He brought us the story. And that's it for updates and details on this Gomoa flooding. The contractor is saying that because they didn't pour libation. Meanwhile, the belts on the riverway, they blocked the riverway, which is what caused the flooding. But hopefully they're saying that help is on the way for all those who have been affected. That's how we're wrapping up on the AM show this morning. But before I go, photo of the day. And this is spotlight on our local earthenware bowls. Ayewa Vagba. Highlight some of the back experiences from eating in Ayewa. I always love to eat fufu in Ayewa earthenware bowl. Beautifully captured by V. Caleb Mensah. All right. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show on Joy News. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Of course, I do this with Benjamin Akakbo. We're back on your screens at 6 a.m. tomorrow, Friday. You should watch out for that. Joy News Desk is up next with Faustina Safo, ever pretty. Keep watching.